Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
What's up, Panther fans? It's the C3 Panthers Podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. We got a great show tonight, but it's a really tough topic to talk about. Could Brian Burns miss week 1 against the Atlanta Falcons? Yuckity, yuckity, yuck. Ugh. I hope that's not what it's come to. I did not expect things to get to this point, but here we are, and it looks like the hardball negotiations may be beginning. We're going to Atlanta, folks, for week 1 of the NFL. Can you believe it? It's here. Real football. Bryce Young going to make Greg a believer. That's right. We've got that. We hopefully may be getting a guest. We thought we were. Sheena Quick we're waiting on her. We'll see if she can come through. And I have to reset up the Rumble because Rumble's janky, dude. And every time it just bounces it out. But that's all right. I'll get it fixed as we go through this. Look, the number's 252-228-5098. We want to hear your thoughts about week 1 against the Atlanta Falcons. What do we need to talk about? What are your concerns? How much is Brian Burns worth? Is he worth $30 million, $23 million? Is Max Crosby an insult to Brian Burns? That type of money. We'll chop all that up, plus more news around the NFL, and I do it with my homeboys each and every week. My wheelman, Cody Lashley. How you doing?
Tony Dunn, you know there's nowhere I'd rather be on a Tuesday night than sitting here with my boys talking Panther football. And listen, man, I'm gonna be real. I'm upset. Your boy's upset. I'm angry. I'm a little pissed off, and I feel like this entire situation that we're gonna be talking about tonight with Brian Burns was completely avoidable by the Panthers front office. Man, I've been a big Fitterer defender, but I don't necessarily know if I am at this point in time. But Tony, we have so much to talk about. The final unofficial 53-man roster has come out. We'll discuss that. But as always, you know we're going to do it with the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube. You know I'm a lover. Miss Panther Pickle, our guy Drew, Anthony in the building, the brand ambassador Diesel Skills, JJ, Evan, Jevin, Low Key, Lynn Leonhardt back in the building. Happy to have you, Lynn. Matt Volt, P Dubs, Panther Gal 73, Tim Estes, VP, and that boy White Chocolate Espresso. Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
Football's here, Greg. You've been waiting to see it. That's what you've told us. I want to see it. I want to see it. Well, guess what? Sunday, you're going to get to see it. The Panthers open up against the Atlanta Falcons currently, or when I last checked, they were 3.5-point dogs, and a lot of people are excited about the Atlanta Falcons offense, and so many unknowns when it comes to the Carolina Panthers, and one more unknown with Brian Burns' situation. Greg, your level of excitement right now heading into week 1 of the 2023 season.
Oh, man, I'm really excited. I'm excited, one, because there's football starting back up. Like, we've had this lull. We've had this long time where we've been talking about football. And now the next time we actually get up and do a show, even if it's Friday Free-For-All, we're going to be able to talk about actual football that's happened. We play the Falcons this week, and it sucks because I'm kind of going next. This is day 3 of 16 days off that I took off of work. So I'm off for the next couple weeks.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it worked out with the holiday and my days off. It just worked out. I took like 9 days off and got 16 days. So it worked out perfect. But I'm going to the beach with my brother-in-law and my family next week after opening weekend. And we play Atlanta, and he's an Atlanta fan. So this is going to change the dynamic of my weekend based on how we play. It's really going to affect me more than just in the game. It's going to be interesting. I want to see it. I think Bryce Young is very talented. I can't wait to see if he can hold up in the NFL and if he can take us to the next level. I really hope he does.
Man, it's an exciting time to be a Panthers fan, CK. It's a new era, a new time. I was thinking about this. Diesel Skills, he set me up with a layup. I said I'll give a short reply to every comment last week. And he said, why is the year of 20C3 so important? 10 years in the making. This is our 10th. We'll complete 10 years as a podcast. We've laid the foundation. We've seen the promised land with a quarterback before. We made it to the mountaintop. We did not get to stay there. We didn't get the Lombardi, but then we walked through the desert looking for a quarterback for several years afterwards. The year of 20C3, the year of our quarterback, Bryce Young. Man, it just, to me, it feels like a breath of fresh air. We've got our North Star to navigate to.
I mean, that's the hope. And when you look at this team, I think when you see the potential of Bryce Young, you can't help but be excited about it, because that's one thing that we've missed is having a quarterback that's actually able to use his ability to think and his ability to see what the defense is doing and make decisions that seem to be right most of the time. There's still a concern, right? I mean, we haven't seen Brian Burns in preseason. We haven't seen him. I mean, we from what we've seen, this dude is going to be an absolute beast, right? So
he's got to play.
Right. That's the thing, is like, if he's not on the field, like, there is a very good chance that he is a difference maker for this defense. Right. And if he's not out there, that's a concern, not just from the perspective of our success as a team, but as for the ability for our offense to get a break and not stay on the field all the time, and giving the offense a better field position because of being able to get a sack in the backfield on a 3rd and 7, and then all of a sudden they're having to punt, and it's an easy, a lot better situation. I think that there is a lot that's going to be missing from Brian Burns being on the field if he is holding out. I support his decision. It's just a scary one and something that sucks.
I'd like to remind you guys that the C3 Panthers podcast is brought to you by Caldera Labs, calderalabs.com/C3. Go there for your twice a day skin regimen. Men care about the way you look, slow the aging process, try to get younger, get your skin looking fresher, younger. I've been using Caldera Labs products. I love the facial cleanse. Got rid of a lot of little blackheads. You can't really see them all the time, but they're always existed. It has helped my skin rejuvenate. You can get 20% off your first order if you go to calderalab.com/C3, and our community has been doing that. That's why they're going to be sponsoring us throughout the season. Guys, you want to look good, you want to feel good, take care of yourselves, guys. Keep that face, work on those wrinkles. Look, they call me, people think I was 50. Now I look 40. Next week I might look 30. calderalab.com/C3, 20% off. Guys, let's jump into the C3 Panthers podcast. Right now, the talk of the town is, will Brian Burns play against the Atlanta Falcons? We were hoping to get Sheena Quick. We thought Sheena Quick was going to be joining us at 9 p.m. It's 9:10. We'll see. Maybe you guys could go social media pressure her to get on the show right now. This is what we were hoping to get some insight into the Brian Burns situation. Guys, I put out a story last night pretty late on CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Will Brian Burns hold in turn into a hold out? I did not see it going this way, guys. We can hear you. Wake up. Guys, the Brian Burns has been available all throughout OTA's training camp. He's been front and center as the Carolina Panthers leader, the star of the defense, and really the anchor of the team in so many ways. As Nick Bosa has held out entirely of training camp and continues to try to negotiate his long-term deal, Brian Burns is in a similar situation, hoping to land an extension before playing his 5th-year option out. He is under contract this season through the 5th-year option, but there's great risks that could come with playing this. If he is to go and get hurt, and then all of a sudden you lose all the leverage that you potentially have, and he's got the greatest amount of leverage he could ever wish for with the Carolina Panthers, outside of going to get like 20 sacks this season, because he's got them backed into a corner. On top of that, he's got to be concerned about if there was an injury, or if his season was just okay, or if whatever it may be, the Panthers could just franchise tag him in the future. So what we're talking about here is that the Brian Burns all of a sudden, because of the injury, all of a sudden, this situation that's just kind of been a slow burn throughout the season. Now the reporters are asking questions. They're asking questions to the players. They're asking questions to the front office. Guys, what have you heard about the Brian Burns situation? Hold in or hold out?
Well, apparently he's been in the building. So it's not really a hold out, more of a hold in. But Brian Burns essentially saying he wants his money. And again, we'll cover all the different aspects of this. I think this is on the Panthers. You're hearing all this about Bosa, and they're waiting for Bosa. But at the same time, you can't tell me that if they were offering Brian Burns a contract right now to be the highest paid player, or any type of contract that he feels is worthy of his level of play, I don't think that this should be an issue now. What makes it all the more infuriating and frustrating is that the Panthers knew they had to sign him last year. We passed on 2 first-round picks, and one in 2024 and one in 2025, and a 2023 second-round pick. We passed up on that because we said that we were going to
make him the cornerstone of the defense, ultimately.
He was going to be the future of our defense. And the Panthers passed up on the opportunity to do just that. Apparently, according to everything that we've heard, both sides are still very far apart. Fowler, I believe it was Fowler, he put, I might have even put it here. No, I didn't put it yet. But he was talking about how they see him. So Brian Burns sees himself in the order of magnitude of a Nick Bosa, and he wants to get kind of around that type of money. Whereas the Panthers, they're valuing him somewhere around what Max Crosby signed for, which is somewhere around $23.5 million a year. And apparently the two sides are very far apart. Boys, now we're talking about the potential of Brian Burns not being available versus the Atlanta Falcons. And to me, I'm sorry, I've been a Fitterer defender, but the fact that we knew that this was coming, we knew that moving to a 3-4 defense was dependent upon Brian Burns being able to play that 3-4 outside linebacker, and yet they're still at this impasse. Like right now, Fitterer and this front office have so much egg in their face. It's confounding. I'm confused. I'm angry. I don't know how to feel. I want Brian Burns to be out there. I want them to pay the man. Like at this point, what's more detrimental to our future? Not having Brian Burns for the 2023 season, or paying him a little bit more money than you want to while you have a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract?
Right.
It's the shit in the world, man.
Yeah, I think, Cody, I got to back you up on that. Like, this is the absolute best time to do this. Like, when you have a rookie quarterback in his first year, this is what you want to do, is sign a cornerstone somewhere else on the team. And Brian Burns is a good guy to do that with. I want to remind everybody how important game ones are, because I know that we talk about how the season doesn't matter till like after week 5 or week 6. But should we have lost, or could we have won game 1 last year? We're a playoff team. And we lost game 1 based on some bullshit calls. So if I'm going into game 1 this season, I want to be 100% full strength. I want everybody that's on this team or signed to this team to be on here. There's no reason you shouldn't sign Brian Burns. And based on what's going on, if they're so far apart, why not just sign an incentive-based contract? Why not give him X amount of money guaranteed that puts him at a very high paid number, and then the rest of it be incentive-based? If you get to this, you get this. If you get to this, you get this.
I think he wants some guaranteed dollars.
He doesn't want that.
Well, but then
doesn't want
that.
That's they offered him $23 million a year, which is more than 2 of the, which is the Max Crosby number, who just signed for with the Las Vegas Raiders this past year. I believe it was. It's not been too far in the rear view. They, which there is some drama there. Wait until we talk about that later on. What's going on in Las Vegas? But he wants that 23 needs to be around 27, and it's probably they really want him to he probably wants 30, and that's just what it's going to take. Here's the thing: is that we got a couple of issues when it comes to this. CK is one is that you got a lot of people in here going, look, is that his production doesn't match that number.
I agree.
The problem though with that is what production do the Panthers have without him?
I mean, that's
none. You're asking. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that you can't really quantify because we haven't had another edge rusher outside of Hassan Reddick. And when you don't have somebody else when you look at our front, there's only one person that you see is going to be able to get to the quarterback consistently, and that's Brian Burns. And even though we call him the king of almost, many times, the dude constantly is impacting how plays go.
Yeah, and pressures, while sacks don't right. Sacks matter, sacks into play, sacks are a great statistic. Disruption is the key as well. So the king of almost is, that means that the play is breaking down quicker than they want it to. So you got Brian Burns here. Is that the question is just like, is this really, I guess now, Cody, that we're right here, and you said you're mad at the Panthers for this. I think the Panthers have to do this to a certain extent. This is the natural evolution of any negotiation. It is the employer-employee relationship. It is the lion and the gazelle relationship. It is the natural, acrimony that happens in these types of negotiations. The thing that I'm asking now is that with the Carolina Panthers firing their coach last year, did they make a mistake?
Not trading him.
Yeah. Was that was the real mistake not trading Brian Burns?
Let me say it like this. I would much rather have Brian Burns than not have Brian Burns.
Sure.
Just so we're clear, right?
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, if we're being real, if you were going to make it such an issue on paying Brian Burns and wanting to make him the seventh, the seventh highest paid defensive end, look, compare him to other players all you want, Highsmith and whoever else. Those other teams have other options. The fact of the matter is, and you just asked, okay, we have no other proven pass rush outside of Brian Burns
and a 33-year-old
right
defensive end who is a mercenary.
Yeah, like you literally brought Justin Houston to be that rotational edge player to get after the quarterback. He's not meant to play every down.
Because you knew you were thin already.
Oh.
Right. By the way, to add on top of this, Marquise Haynes just recently got put on IR. So now we're in a situation where not only are we short at the position, but you're going to lowball our best player. And Tony, I put this out on Twitter, and it got over like 500 likes, man. It went kind of crazy. To me, this was something that really kind of drove me up a wall, and I'll just put it up here. Okay, so the Panthers signed Dante Jackson instead of Stephon Gilmore, a 33-year-old wide receiver in Adam Thielen on a 3-year deal, an aging linebacker and Shaq Thompson, and yet we want to be stingy and can't break off our most dependable player in Brian Burns. This is what has me as a Fitterer defender saying, nah, dude, this is too far. You knew that Brian Burns was going to ask for a large amount of money, and don't say that he didn't know, because this is what they do now. When you, as David Gettleman would say, when you get your first kick of the can, like this is a big moment for a lot of players, and Brian Burns is never, he's not guaranteed to have a bigger market value than he does right now.
Mm-hmm. So I think the problem though is that $30 million is like 25% of the cap space. Right. For maybe not 25. It's like what would it be? So if there's $230
million is cap, right?
200 and just say it's 212. So what is 10%? 22.
2100 or do you have 21 million?
Yeah, so you're talking 15% of the cap space locked up into one player. I think that maybe that's some of the things they're looking at. But the problem is the Panthers aren't prepared to weather the storm of not having Brian Burns. And if they were going to be able to do that, last year would have been the year to do it.
Yeah. And look, I think that honestly, if we're going to pay somebody 15% of our salary cap, right now's the time to do it. Once again, because of Bryce Young being the quarterback and being on the rookie deal, he's the big guy that's coming to pay. We don't have a ton of guys coming up every year. Like one guy every year for the next few years is fine. The problem is like, okay, I think that paying him $23 million in incentives is worth it. But if Brian Burns is going to tell me that he thinks he needs to get paid $30 million instead of 22, then I need to see 16, 17 sacks instead of 12. I mean, I'm just saying.
What he's going to see
you
ain't going to see no sacks, bro. You ain't going to see no sacks this year. And somebody brought up a good point in the chat is that they heard, and who was it? I want to give him credit for this, that their agents are for the same company. So
Brian Burns and Bosa.
Yeah, is that could, in many ways, there's a degree of collusion here by this agency to inflate, but to get the most. I mean, that's what an agent wants to do. And think about if they're taking 10% of this, if they're pulling 10% of a $200 million deal, this is a difference between them getting 10 million or 20 million between the two players put together. So how are they using that in concert? I've seen Panther Pickle say, look, he's not putting up the numbers to deserve that type. I think timing, I think timing has so much to do with it. And the problem is how does this defense even function absent of Brian Burns? Well, how could it function? That's the real scary part about this. But he is under contract.
Right.
So he will lose significant money by sitting out.
Right.
So if you want to hardball it, get ready to hardball it. And the Panthers would just have to say this: if we can't come to a consensus, then you're going to have to sit out or play.
Right. Well, here's my question for you guys as fans. I want to know what y'all think about this. Like, he says he wants to get paid Joey Bosa money. Okay.
Nick Bosa money, right?
Nick Bosa money. Okay. If you guys had the choice right now to pay Nick Bosa $30 million a year or Brian Burns $30 million a year to be on our team, who are you taking?
I say Nick Bosa because
I think most people would say that.
But I'm not
Brian Burns, but I think Nick Bosa is a better player. He's been just injured. A notch above.
Yeah, he's been injured. Brian Burns has been available. Yeah, I mean, I understand. I mean, I think that you would be maybe a little what is it when you just because we're fans of Brian Burns, if you said that you would take, if we were in the draft, who would you pick, Cody?
Right.
If we're in the draft now, would you pick Nick Bosa or Brian Burns?
And I'm not saying Burns can't get there. I'm just saying he hasn't showed me yet to be on the level of Nick Bosa.
And this is what a lot of people are saying too. Listen, coming out of the draft, I would have said Bosa. Right now, if you're judging their careers to this point, I would say Bosa. But listen, I don't care if this sounds shocking or not. I do not think that we have seen the best of Brian Burns as a football player. And I do think in this type of defensive system, playing in a 3-4 outside linebacker, I believe after a season that he could potentially have this year, we could be talking about Brian Burns in a very different league of NFL pass rusher than we currently are. He's only gotten better every season. And again, the reason why I say that this is different than those other players is because Bosa missed some time last year, and they were still rolling on defense. Like the 49ers have players up and down the offense and up and down the defense. They have 5 generational
talents on their team on both sides of the ball.
The Carolina Panthers
have nothing.
Simply do not have this luxury.
I agree. That's the real fact of the matter is it doesn't matter who's better at this point. It doesn't matter any of those things is because the Panthers have too many eggs put in the Brian Burns basket, leaving us asking, man, did they make a true mistake last year in not trading him?
I mean, if you're not signing him, I think you have to say you did, and you have to put that on Fitterer.
Even if it just turns into a mess temporarily. If you squander a game in Atlanta because you couldn't reach the deal, then it would have been better just to have direction with those draft picks.
Well, the problem is it's super valuable right now because even this is one of the disadvantages to having a new system, a new coach, a new player, a new quarterback. And then having the first 2 games be divisional opponents. These are more important games, and we're not going to know what this offense is supposed to be. right? So it's going to be a bit of a difficulty, and not having Brian Burns out there is a leverage piece that he may be using right now. Like, listen, if you want me to play, like, this game on Sunday is more important than the game that's coming up 3 weeks after that, right? That's not a divisional game. So, I mean, there's that part of it. The part of it that I think is kind of touching base on what we talked about last week, and that is that it doesn't matter the value of Bosa. It doesn't. It honestly, it does not matter, because the reality is it's whether Burns is valuable to us as he isn't, or as you know, as we all believe him to be. Right. Bosa is, how often have we seen players who were not top 5 players get paid the top money and on a market and become the newest, highest paid Cousins. Right. Like it's something that happens. And just because Brian Burns doesn't necessarily live up to that same level as Bosa from a statistical standpoint, and you know, what have you, I think that it's still a very real possibility that you see him getting paid that same amount of money, if not more. And that is why he's waiting. His agent is like, listen, we know what this price is going to be over here when Bosa takes his. That's only going to increase the price for you. And so by doing it now, your price isn't up. If you do it after Bosa gets his deal, which he will get his deal, then you have a better shot at making more money.
CK, let's go ahead and welcome in the newest member of the C3 Superfan Club. Can we pull that back up, Cody? CK,
we sure can.
Ladies and gentlemen, Panther Fan 92 has become a new member of the C3 Superfan Club for $1.99. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast and joining us here on this fine Tuesday evening, a week before real NFL football.
Yeah,
now, being a C3 super fan is a one way to support the show. For just $1.99 a month, you can support the C3 Panthers podcast and get access to those cool tags. You see all the people with the cool tags and their ability to do all the cool emojis. There's going to be some other things and opportunities for early access to content that Cody's going to tell you about in a moment. But this is what we are going to be debuting. If you are a C3 super fan, you get to be a part of the Mega Mingo contest each and every week. And what we're going to do is this is after every Panthers game, we're going to pull out this Mega Mingo card here. And we're going to keep the card running from week to week too. So it's not like it just resets each week. Right. So if we get a win versus, like, say in week 1, if we get a win versus the Falcons, we're going to put an X on this one. And you would get this one too, an X right here, a road win. And then say Thielen caught a touchdown and there was a defensive interception. All 5 of those across the board, we're going to be giving away a Jonathan Mingo jersey to one of the C3 super fans. So what we're going to do is like each game, after every game, we're going to pull out the Mega Mingo card. We're going to check off whatever we get here. And at the same time, if you're a C3 super fan, we're going to take all the names. We're going to randomly pick one, and we're going to give away a Jonathan Mingo jersey. Once that happens, we reset. Maybe we change the card. Maybe we just pull the card back out and start it all over again. But we're going to be rocking Mega Mingo for the C3 super fans all throughout the season. Cody, you also have some other content that's going to be coming for the C3 super fans for just $1.99. They can get some early access.
Oh, yeah. We're going to be doing film reviews. The C3 Film Room is coming back. That's going to go out to everybody for the $1.99 one day earlier. And you've been asking for it. You know it's coming back. C3 Madden simulations. Me and CK and a bunch of others, we're going to be breaking down Madden, showing everybody the game. And that's also going to go out one day early for all of our $1.99 super fans. We appreciate all of you, even those who donate via YouTube. We love y'all too, man. The real C3 AP says, let Dante go. What's he done? Appreciate your patronage, man.
CK, speaking of Madden simulations, what does Madden have the Carolina Panthers season looking like? Did you run a season simulation?
I did. And I've got a lot of the details here. What would you guys like to know? Would you like to know what they believe this Falcons game is going to be resulting in?
Let's start with week 1 against the Falcons.
Week 1. Now, this is a broad simulation. This isn't the simulation we do on that we're going to be doing this week that actually shows the game But basically, they've got the Falcons winning 21-14. And so this is an interesting situation. I sent this to you guys in the Four Horsemen, but they have a tie atop the NFC South, and the Panthers are not a part of it. It is the Saints and the Falcons, and their belief is that they're going to be 12-5.
Holy cow!
Yeah, they have the Panthers at 7-10, and they have the Buccaneers at 3-14. It's an interesting one. So they've got the Falcons winning the division, which is quite interesting. Some details I think most people are going to be more interested in is Bryce Young, how they project him to perform. It's a respectable rookie outing. And that is he's got 3,500 yards with a 99.1 QB rating. He's got 23 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and average yards per game is 211. Completion percentage is 66%, which is on par for kind of what he is known to do, right? The interesting thing is the leading wide receiver they have for us is Adam Thielen with a little over 1,000 yards, 1,032 yards to be exact, 12 touchdowns. The next person in line is Shenault with 696. So Thielen heavily favored as the receiving king on the Panthers team. Oddly enough, DJ Chark is only at 479 yards with 0 touchdowns and only 35 receptions for the year in this. And I think there was one other piece that I wanted to touch base on, and that was the defense. Shaq Thompson is odds-on favorite for the tackle leader. He's got 98 here. He's got 7 tackles for a loss, 3 interceptions, 1 forced fumble. So dude's got a crazy stat line for being on the defense. He is a one-man band. JC Horn's got 3 interceptions as well. Burns, this is an interesting one. They've only got him at 8 sacks. So not fantastic, but they've given him 15 tackles for a loss.
Dude, Madden disrespects the Panthers just like media members do, man. Brian Burns had 12 sacks last year, and they think that he's going to get 4 less. I just feel like they're telling you they don't think we're going to be an elite team. And let's be real, outside of some Panther fans, there aren't many people that do think the Panthers are going to be an elite team. So those numbers don't really surprise me. But again, like when you're just talking about numbers and things of that nature, it's hard to talk about them when you don't know if you're going to have your full roster of people. And I think we're going to get into predictions at some point, and it's hard to make a prediction if your primary pass rusher is not going to be out there and not be available for you. It's hard for us to even say what kind of defense and what kind of team we're going to have against the Falcons. So,
and
tough,
especially
man.
A team that is speaking of, let me see, let's go ahead and jump to that Falcons matchup real quick. Is that the Carolina Panthers are heading to week 1 against the to face the Atlanta Falcons, and neither team has fared very well in their home openers as of late. I found this: the Falcons have, as of late, struggled in season openers, going 3-7 in our last 10 tries, standing at 28-29 overall in their team's history. Carolina hasn't been much better, they wrote, as it's lost 3 of its last 4 openers, and is 11-17 record all time. The Falcons have the head-to-head advantage at 3-1, though the last such meeting came in 2006. So this, like CK was saying, though, is, man, having these 2 back-to-back divisional games is so important to the way not only the Panthers start the season, but the long-term kind of shakeout of how they're going to run after that division. And really, if there is a air of mystique that comes with the Carolina Panthers offense, it is in these opening weeks, as we haven't seen Bryce Young. We haven't seen what this team can do, or what the offense truly looks like as a blend of Frank Reich's offense and that Thomas Brown kind of bringing in the Los Angeles Rams tree. So the Panthers have an opportunity to go on the road and strike and also strike in a way that sets up having the opportunity to sweep later in the season by getting these guys back on our home turf. But Brian Burns potentially being missing brings so much questions, guys, because look, the Falcons have announced Bijan Robinson. He is the starting running back. And the Panthers have not looked great against the run in the preseason. They haven't looked great against the run in the last several years, well, albeit they have gotten better over the last couple of years, particularly because of the addition of Derek Brown. Stopping the run is going to be important. And all I heard throughout this preseason about the defense was, well, we don't got Brian Burns and we don't got Justin Houston. We don't got Brian Burns and we don't got Justin Houston. Well, guess what? It would really suck to not have Brian Burns on Sunday.
It would.
Yeah. I mean, and then this is also, guys, if we keep going, Cody, is that right now is that the Atlanta has retooled this offseason. They've added a bunch of old names, I feel like, on defense, but still Calais Campbell and some different. I'm not really I'm trying to say, hey, they went and spent big because they had a lot of money, but I'm hoping that some of those names are more name value than actual value. But they have been secretly building an offense that has the potential to be good, right? Is that Drake London came out and looked really good in his rookie season last year. Kyle Pitts, you know what he could be. And so maybe we saw his rookie year, had a sophomore slump. They're probably trying to figure out how to better use him. They've got this plethora of running backs. They've got like thousands of yards of running backs in the backfield. Bijan Robinson looks so wildly sick, like one of those dudes that could be like a rookie of the year candidate coming right out the gate. But there is the question of their quarterback, Desmond Ridder. This will be his first time taking over and starting the season. Do you guys think that can the Panthers stop the Atlanta Falcons without Brian Burns? And hell, right now, Vegas doesn't know if they can stop him with Brian Burns.
So one of the things that I've said is that I don't have a lot of faith in the Falcons secondary. They have a lot of new pieces, right? They got Jeffrey Okudah. They've got Jesse Bates. Like, they have a lot of brand new moving pieces, and I don't know that necessarily translates early in the NFL season, especially facing a quarterback like Bryce, who is so methodical, who can move the ball in different kinds of ways. I don't know, man. I really do think this is going to be a tough competition. Like you said, they have thousands of yards worth of running backs on their roster. So defending and stopping the run, that's going to be incredibly important to us. And defending that outside edge, making sure that they're not bumping it to the outside and stretching our linebackers more than they can handle. So, yeah, you would need a Brian Burns for that type of scenario in that situation. But I think our offense matches up with their defense much better than vice versa, than our defense matches up to their offense. Now, you mentioned Desmond Ridder, and Falcons fans are very up and down on him. Some don't believe in him at all. Some think he's going to have a breakout dude this year. Me, he's a Falcons quarterback, so I'm not going to buy that shit until I believe it. Right now, I'm still giving Carolina a slight edge, and I do only say slight because if Brian Burns is not there, then I don't know where most of our sack production is coming from, and that makes this matchup a whole lot harder for us.
Football season is back, and you know what that means. Touchdown dances, Sunday tailgates, and epic fantasy football showdowns. But, fellas, let's not forget who the real MVP of the season is, and that is Manscaped. Manscaped has introduced the new Beard Hedger in the Pro Kit by Manscaped, your ultimate luxury beard grooming experience. Look, Greg, he's got a beard that needs grooming. This kit is your secret weapon for staying sharp on the field, on and off the field. Don't fumble this opportunity. Head to manscaped.com and elevate your grooming game. Go to manscaped.com, use the promo code Panthers and get 20% off plus free shipping. That's promo code Panthers at manscaped.com and get 20% off of 20% off your order plus free shipping. You could get the Beard Hedger, you could get the Lawnmower 4.0, you can get all types of cool, really high quality product. One of my look, I used 2 Manscaped products this weekend. We took the kids to Busch Gardens. The grandparents took the kids to Busch Gardens. I got to take. Yeah, we took the. Yeah, exactly. Well done. The travel case, the nice leather travel case. I take it everywhere I go. Man, that's my favorite out of all the products. Is that this nice leather bag that I get to put all my toiletry products on. And I also took the ball deodorant, and guess what? 0 chafing in 100,000 degree heat, walking all over Busch Gardens because my bush was trimmed. That's right. Manscaped.com, promo code Panthers, 20% off plus free shipping. What's up next, Cody?
Yeah, by the way, those nose hair trimmers, that's one of the things that they don't tell men as you get older, that your nose hairs are going to go wild, dude.
Out of control.
Dude,
and don't pluck them. If you pluck them, your eyes all water.
And it hurts. And if you pluck them, they grow back even gnarlier than they did before. Dude, get them nose hair trimmers up in the nostrils, clean that hair out. Hey, man, be a nice, well put together gentleman. I'm sure we're not done talking about Brian, but until then, another bit of news that came to pass is the unofficial depth chart for the Carolina Panthers. And now we have a better idea of what our starting lineup is going to look like, man. Right now, they have Chandler Zavala penciled in at right guard for the Panthers. I mean, there's a few different surprising ones. Deshaun Williams is a starter on the line. Him and Shai Tuttle and Derek Brown, and basically behind Brian Burns, we have your Turner Gross Matos and DJ Johnson. So we're essentially saying that YGM is a starter this year in the event that Brian Burns does not go out there and participate week 1 against Atlanta. Terrace Marshall Jr., also number 2 on the depth chart behind DJ Chark. That's another interesting one of note. I wonder how much of the rotation we're going to see him be a part of. Maybe he has the opportunity to work himself back up into a number 1 position. And, other than that, everything else looks about as to be expected. Any surprises for you boys?
Well, I think it's not so much as a surprise as just questions about some of the players that we're going to be counting on. Number 1 is DJ Chark. He's continuing to struggle with a hamstring injury. He talked about he knows how injuries goes and how setbacks can happen, and they're trying to avoid that. So my question is what will be his availability in week 1? Are they going to try to protect him a little bit more and nurse that? We see what's going on with Cooper Kupp in LA. They got him seeing a hamstring specialist. DJ Chark has dealt with injuries throughout his career, foot, I believe, in Detroit, problems in Jacksonville. And I had such high hopes. It felt like DJ Chark and Bryce Young were establishing so much chemistry. Any news? I mean, and this is where we needed Sheena. We needed Sheena quick tonight for some of this insight. Have you guys heard anything about the DJ Chark injury status? Is he going to be a go? Maybe I can pull up. When do they have to release the health?
I think Thursday, maybe Friday.
I think Thursday's the day. I think you're right. Yeah.
I'm not sure. DJ Chark, the last time he spoke to the media, he seemed to be very optimistic about his ability to be able to start week 1.
Right.
So I'm really hoping that we're going to be a full go by the time we get to Atlanta. We do have the rest of the week, but I mean, again, Laviska Shenault, TMJ, and DJ Chark, they've sat out for a good bit of time now. So I'm really, really hoping that they're going to be available come week 1, or else it doesn't do much to convince the naysayers otherwise of their position that a lot of our receiving core is just a bunch of injury-prone guys that are not dependable to last a whole season, and they're not even able to make it out there week 1.
I know.
So,
that's crazy.
Hey,
yeah, that's kind of wild.
Cody, one thing I noticed about the depth chart this week, this is the unofficial depth chart, but I see 1, 2. Didn't we have 3 quarterbacks last week? We're talking about going three quarterbacks into the. Where's the third quarterback at, Cody?
He is in New England with Bill Belichick.
He's going to take over up there.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead and pick him up in fantasy.
Matt Jones's time is done for. Matt Corral coming for the job up in New England, baby.
I would laugh my ass off if Matt Corral goes into New England and has such a successful career up there in New England. That would be so crazy.
I might drive my chair off a bridge.
You never know.
It's not going to happen.
He's got a really big foot, man.
He does have big feet.
Yeah.
You
know what they say about people with big feet?
They wear
big potential.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking.
I was going to think they wore big shoes.
Yeah. I mean, that's true too.
I mean, wasn't it Deuce Staley who said, "I'd never seen a Nike swoosh that big before"? Look, all right. So if we peek back at this, starting at this roster right here, is the Panthers? I guess here before the Brian Burns thing became a situation, where were our eyes when it came to the depth chart? They weren't on Brian Burns' spot, that was for sure. But now, look, if you look at this offensive line, you're talking about Christensen solidified himself at left guard. I think we've got our starting five that we're hoping to rock all season long. They parted ways last week with the old hats and Cam Irving, with the terribleness of Michael Jordan, and they are kind of pushing their chips in on Nash Jensen, Ricky Lee, and Cade Mays as being the backups that could potentially do this. Then you go to the tight end unit. They kept 4 tight ends. They have them listed, so you could say 3 tight ends and a fullback. Are you guys surprised to see? I guess I'm not surprised to see Ian Thomas still considered to be important to this team. I guess his blocking ability is going to be important amidst an offensive line that has been struggling. Your thoughts on those 2 position groups as we then turn to look at the defense?
I mean, I think the tight ends have been the center point for the entire week, really. The fact that they were rolling forward with, at that point in time, we were still dealing with 5. When they put Sullivan on IR, obviously that reduced that. And then, your opinion on Ricci, whatever it may be, is he a fullback or is he a tight end? I feel like he's been used more as a tight end, not only in preseason, but in his entire career as a Panther. So that's hard to say. So I would like our offense to be a little bit better, but our tight end situation to be a little bit better, but it is what it is, and we just got to roll with it.
Yeah, the linebacker depth is not great to me. And again, shout out to the Gettleman-isms. I learned a lot about GMing from Gettleman, just for some of the things that he would say. And you just said with the 52-man roster, you're not ever going to have depth along every position. That is just not possible. I understand that. But that linebacking core, the names behind them inspire no confidence in me. I know Cabo Cruz-Hill is a player that impressed a lot in the preseason, but Clouden Cherilus, sorry, that does nothing for me. Amari Barno kind of came on at the end of the year last year, so he might be okay. But YGM, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm just not a big believer in the game of YGM at this point in time. So I hope that we're able to stay healthy. And really, that's the truth for the Carolina Panthers 2023 squad, no matter what, is that this is a team that, if healthy, they can be a contender for the NFC South. But if we, have a string of bad luck and start to be injury plagued sooner rather than later, I don't think that this roster would be able to survive that.
Actually, I'm going to do an audible real quick, guys. Let's go ahead and do some quick prize picks real quick. The C3 Panthers podcast is also sponsored by Prize Picks. It's your way to play daily fantasy football sports safely, securely, make some money by showing off your football knowledge. The reason I want to jump this in is we've got 10 minutes left. If you go and sign up for Prize Picks right now, use the promo code C3. They will match your first-time deposit up to $100 by 100%. You put in $100, they'll give you $100. Put in $50, they'll give you $50. The way it works is you got to make 2 plays on entries on fantasy football projections of what these players will do on the field. This is where you take your expertise. This is a game of not of luck, but of skill. Daily fantasy football sports. Prize Picks is the way to go. Promo code C3 is a must. The direct link is in the description. We've got 8 minutes and 54 seconds left to take advantage of a 35% discount on Isaiah Pacheco for the Kansas City Chiefs. Right now, they have him projected to go 50.5 yards rushing. That's the normal entry. But if I'm going to try to take advantage of this in the next 8 minutes, 32.5 rushing yards, more or less. I think I'm going to do a simple play, guys, here. A simple entry. Isaiah Pacheco, 2 on Thursday night. Isaiah Pacheco, 32.5 more. And Jahmyr Gibbs, Detroit star running back that they also drafted, 39.5 yards rushing more. That's what I'm feeling right now. How do you what do you think about that, Cody?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I drafted Isaiah Pacheco in my dynasty league that we're in. I'm a big fan. And they're saying Travis Kelce strained his knee or his hamstring or something.
Hyperextended his knee.
Yeah, hyperextended his knee. So right now they don't even know how available he's going to be. If he's going to be losing weapons, that puts more importance on Pacheco. Tony, I like more when it comes
Look
to
at this.
Pacheco.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. Can he have? I don't like that.
I mean,
7
he's their
catches
number 1 by far.
7 catches in a game. That's a lot.
Anthony says smash Gibbs at over 39.5.
More than, yeah. Well, I think I'm rocking with this right here.
Yeah, that's not a bad one at all.
I think I'm going to go here. I'm going to play a little safe here. Do $40. See, 40 to win, 90. That's Prize Picks.
What is that?
You got to use a 25 is the max when you get the discount. There we go. So
there we go.
So Prize Picks, promo code C3. And let's just do this. Let's just for giggles. Let's see if anything has changed here. Thielen receiving yards in first 2 receptions. Ooh, I don't know if that's a tough. That means I like less than there.
What it's receiving yards.
Receiving yards in first 2 receptions. He would more or less than 19.5.
So his first 2 receptions would have to be more or less than 19.5.
Yeah. I don't know if I feel great about.
Yeah, because he's sort of the underneath the guy.
Wow.
So, I mean, I don't really see them using Thielen to be the. I don't know, though. In that preseason game, they picked him up on a crossing route that picked up a pretty good bit of yards. I don't know, man. That one's
kind of risky.
Tough.
Let's see.
That one's tough.
Let's just do this. Let's see what they got with the Falcons rocking right now. And then we're going to rock into your calls. The number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. You know, Bijan ripping off a big one. I could see that happening in the beginning. The Panthers' defense is sluggish against the run so much. Oh, no, Brian Burns. Can he get 21.5 yards in his first 5 rushing attempts? I mean, it's not great. I mean, that's tough. Completions in first 10 passes, Desmond Ridder, 6.5, more or less. Drake London. Look, is Drake London's numbers are only 1 yard more than Adam Thielen.
I think that's a reflection of Desmond Ridder.
Oh, good point. Interesting stuff there. Can the Carolina Panthers make the Atlanta offense punt the ball more than 4 times?
Oh, dude. Shout out to Kev in the chat. He pointed out Justin Jefferson. Well, right now, Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase are at 0.5 receiving touchdowns. So that's pretty good for them too. But Yeah, and then why be?
Will Patrick Mahomes have 3 touchdowns in his debut with no Travis Kelce potentially? Oh, gosh. Prize Picks, guys. Prize Picks, promo code C3. It's so fun. People, not only do they sponsor us, but we just have a blast playing this. You should see all the fans of the C3 Panthers podcast that have been playing this. We've got a dedicated direct chat group on X.com or X or whatever we're supposed to call it now, formerly known as Twitter, of all this Prize Pick stuff. We're going to be monitoring this. We still have the Friday show to find some gems. All right, guys, let's go and jump into. You guys got anything else to say about the roster, or is it time to take some calls?
No, I believe it's time to hear from these here callers, man. These here C3 faithful. And if you would like to hear your cat call played on the podcast, the number is 252-228-5098. Let's jump into it.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
What is up, everybody? It's been a minute. It's your buddy here.
Is this Nick?
Yeah.
Been a little busy.
What up, Nick?
Working a crazy amount of hours, but making that money so that I can try to go to multiple games this year again. But guys, I've missed you. I hope all you guys are
Missed
doing
you
well.
too, brother.
And I can't wait for the season to start. But before we even get to the good news about, the season right around the corner and all that, I have to give out my ice up pick. And Tony, it is not you, so don't worry. You're safe for now. I'm icing up the Pats. The Patriots have not only gone after one, but 2 of our quarterbacks, where they have thus given them the Liz Frank injury.
I didn't even think about that.
I was there when both Cam Newton and Matt Corral got their Liz Frank. And then I was there again at Cam Newton's last game before the Panthers cut him the first time. You guys didn't learn, and nothing against Cam. You guys know I love Cam. I wish him nothing but the best. Okay, but you guys didn't learn your lesson. The Pats didn't learn their lesson the first time. They just had to try their luck one more time. And honestly, sorry, Cody, but I would have taken Bailey Zappi over Matt Corral.
Oh, no.
Iced up to the Pats, and guys, what do you think we're going to do this season? Because I'm sorry, I'm not necessarily all in on a rookie quarterback bringing us to the playoffs his first year. Like, I know it happens. I know the past that it was Mac Jones. It's just, I don't see it happening. I don't see us winning the division, not when, and I'm not scared of Josh Carr, but, not when you have Josh Carr, not when you have Bijan Robinson in Atlanta. Especially when we swap to a 3-4 base defense that's even worse against the run than what we've been dealing with. Now, yes, we have an actual defensive coordinator that is somewhat proven. Okay, I'm for it. But even still, Atlanta did not just draft Bijan Robinson for no reason. They drafted him so that way they could get 2 W's from us.
That's messed up.
Bijan Robinson. Know what you guys think.
Bijan Robinson equals 2 W's against the Panthers. And look, is cool call. Interesting call from Nick. Good to hear from you, Nick. The first part is that the Bill Belichick the evil empire manufactured Liz Frank injuries on all of our quarterbacks and then
to
goes
lower the price
and then gets those quarterbacks. And what's crazy is that we were to add one more layer to that is that the team that we traded with to go up and get Matt Corral was the Patriots. So I wonder if everybody's talking junk about our turf, man, the New England one with that Liz Frank, it's not friendly to the feet there. But then as he goes on and moves to the expectations for the Carolina Panthers, and let's take a moment to talk about that. Have your expectations changed? You know, or what's your thought? Because I mean, Cody, 2 months ago, with our way too early projections, is you said 10 wins for the Panthers, or maybe 11. You might have even said 11, dude. At this point, has that number regressed to the mean? I think this team can be anywhere between 7 and 9 wins. That's what I see the Panthers doing. I think in a good season, it's going to be on that 9, maybe in an exceptional season, 10. I think realistically, it's 8 or 9, and disappointingly, it's 6, 7, or 8 type thing. Right now, the questions do loom about how this defense can stop the run. It's been a problem. The 3-4, the way to beat the 3-4 is to run up the gut at it. Can Shy Tuttle, the Deshaun Williams, and Derek Brown alone do enough? And is Brian Burns, how essential is he really going to be that essential to stopping the run this week? Or do we, or is he also a liability in the run?
Well, do you want to jump in, CK?
No, you go ahead.
Well, I mean, basically, yeah. I mean, if you're asking me if my prediction for the total amount of wins has gone down, yeah, I think I have to. I would be unreasonable to not bump that down a little bit because, one, as you mentioned, we don't know what the defense is going to look like. Forget what Ron Rivera said a few years ago about us moving to a 3-4. This is the first time that the Panthers have ever really committed to a 3-4 defense. And knowing that we had problems stopping the run before, I don't necessarily know that goes away overnight with the position scheme flip. So for that reason, I'm going down. Then you factor maybe Brian Burns not being there. Yeah, it goes down.
Injuries
and then,
at the wide receiver group. Is DJ Shark
right,
healthy?
That's what I'm saying. And I don't ever want to have to tell Anthony or JJ that they were right. And I feel like they question the receiver talent sometimes more than anything. But they also mentioned the health, and that is a good point. Like, if they're not going to be out there, then we're repeating history, Tony. We're asking Bryce Young to be Superman, just like we did to Cam Newton, and his career has not even started yet. It's a damn shame.
We are maybe underestimating, though, is the Miles Sanders factor, right? Is the safety group in this bunch has improved. I think this team has the ability to go and stun and surprise and be good. I just don't know how much I would bet on it, CK.
No, I agree. I listen. We've all been, at least here, a little. Me and Cody, I should say, have been a little bit over excited about what this team can be, right? And that's a fair thing, right? You know, it's I want it to be pretty positive. I want it to be a season of, you know, all ups and no downs, but you know, it's just the reality is it's probably not going to go that way. We got a rookie quarterback, a brand new head coach. I mean, there's just so many things going against us being able to have that type of a season. I think that it's okay to expect us to be middle of the pack. That 7 to 10 wins in Madden infuriates a lot of people. I can't say that I'm one of them at this point.
But Bryce Young, this is so many unknowns. In fact, maybe that's how I was going to start my story last night, Cody, but I didn't have the energy to just like go through all writing about all the unknowns and then parlaying that to the Brian Burns. But all the unknowns about, look, is the difference, like the different coaching staff, the different defensive scheme, the different players on the team, the different, you know, all of the different quarterback, the different all right guard, whatever it is. You want to go through all of these things. I didn't expect Brian Burns to be the unknown. Maybe I should have seen this, and I almost feel like he either he slow played this with us, and so I heard that Nick, but some of the people were saying that Nick Bosa needed to be taking more shots verbally at the management of the 49ers because it worked for Deebo Samuel last year when he said, well, just trade me then, and he got paid.
2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
I felt like maybe did the media protect us from this moment, protect us? Do you think that maybe, I won't say let us down, but they should have been ahead on asking about the potential of it reaching this point? Because I feel like now they're just asking on this podcast. We've been asking about this Brian Burns situation a lot more closely than potentially the media has.
Tony, I disagree with that. I don't think it's on the media. I think the Panthers front office lured us into a false sense of security. Because look at it this way, right? We already talked about how they didn't trade Brian Burns last season when they had the opportunity to do so. So that alone tells you that they wanted him to be the cornerstone of the defense. But on top of that, Leonard Floyd was available to be signed for the Panthers, and the Panthers didn't do it. Yannick Ngakoue was available.
He doesn't really fit our scheme. I think Justin Houston actually
outside linebackers. That's what
Yannick Ngakoue plays in a 4-3, I think.
I think he can do both. I mean, they're both kind of do what we want. Jadeveon Clowney too. The point being, Tony, is that when they didn't make any of those moves, and all of their preparations is building towards them being ready to go week one with Brian Burns, then you bring in Justin Houston, who is the older guy, but is a perfect complementary piece, who performed well last year. It's like, to me, this is the Panthers. The Panthers have set up everything like we were going to pay Brian Burns, and then now they want to whine and cry and throw a tantrum about it at the last minute. And listen, my final thing I want to say about this, I mean, I don't know if it's final, but us as Panther fans, like, you have to understand what would be worse for us in 2023, to slightly overpay Brian Burns or to not have him for the entirety of the 2023 season.
That's an impossibility. That's an impossibility.
Thereby, you're tanking if you don't have a complete defense. And by the way, you don't have a first-round pick in 2024. So you're essentially losing out for a high second-round pick. I'm sorry, it's
Brian
dumb.
Burns can't afford
to.
He can't afford to sit out. I'm sorry, it's just mathematically implausible for him to sit out for an entire season. Maybe week one or something like that. But after a certain amount, the fines are going to add up so much to where it's really hurting your bottom line right now.
I just blame Fitterer. I feel like it didn't need to come to this.
Interesting,
And I feel like the Panthers offense, the Panthers front office are the ones that really fucked this up.
Interesting to see some of the comments in the chat first. I love to see people saying that Tony, the professor, is spitting facts. I like that. Diesel Skills, great comment. He said, man, the Panthers played with fire and they got burned with burns. How about that? Played with fire and got burns.
Yeah.
That's a good comment right there.
That's
pun intended. On top of that, what about now? We talked about this on the Friday free for all. The question is Scott Fitterer a good thing or a bad? Like, it's like now quickly the tides can turn, the narrative can change. You go from Scott Fitterer being a superhero to now people making lists of errors that he made, Cody making the most ridiculous one. And saying, all right, let's go back to the calls. The number's 252-228-5098. I feel like some people are going to have a couple of things to say to Cody Lack this week.
Yo, it's White Chocolate Espresso. I know y'all don't talk about Panther stuff, and I get it, but it is 12 o'clock at night. It is technically Wednesday or Tuesday. And my God, Cody. Look at your ass up by Duke. 28-7. Talking all that shit about Cade Cupcake. Let me repeat that. Cade Cupcake. My God. That's definitely he's a bitch. Talking all that shit on the internet. All that shit about us, and y'all come out here and lay that fucking dud, that fucking stinker on fucking national TV against Duke. Against fucking Duke. Y'all out there blaming DJ. You go. Fucking DJ. You go. Talking shit about Spencer Rattler. Y'all wish y'all had Spencer Rattler with that bum ass.
We both lost to basketball.
Shit. I told you. Clemson's downfall is happening. It's over. Hope you enjoy the ride. Have fun losing to FSU and giving me my $25 that you bet me. Bitch.
Breaking news, the Clemson Tigers to stay in the ACC despite them wanting them to leave.
Well, by the way, I would just like to say,
Dabo, bro, man, this is when Dabo became too big.
Yeah, and also he's too big to go into the transfer portal to get receivers to actually complement the new offensive coordinator that you went out and paid all the money to. But, dude, don't fucking get me started on the bullshit-ass Tigers right now. It's sad that all my hopes and dreams depend on the Panthers. It doesn't feel too good right now. But I will say this. Right now, Clemson and South Carolina have one thing in common.
They're both
we both lose to basketball schools. So, hey, man, we're in the same boat, stupid.
All right, let's go back to Kev.
I'm still a sad.
Hi, this is Detective Boshoven. I'm here doing a wellness check on Cody Lack.
Oh, my God,
he got heartbroken by a certain football team who sucked ass.
Oh, my God.
I'm just making sure he's all right, and we have an environment around him that can help him emotionally, come together as one, Just give me a call. Again, this is Detective Boshoven checking in on Cody Lack. Thank you.
Cody, you look like Donald Trump in his mugshot. Should we can you show us the shoes that you got? Because do we need to take the shoelaces out of them?
No, man, I keep them in, and your boy keeps a pair of shoes clean forever.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. So, but no, I saw these. Shout out to Panthers Wire. They put this out on Twitter, and I thought they were fire, man. It's these Panthers. It's a limited edition Panthers Air Pegasus 40 sneakers. And, dude, I think they are fire. You already know your boy picked up a pair. People with no taste, like white chocolate dumpster fire, were making fun of my Converse. But Converse are some of the coolest shoes ever. But, no, your boy was in need for a brand new pair of shoes. And, man, these were perfect. They got the processed blue. They got the Nike swoosh. Man, I had to jump on them, bro.
I tell you one thing is there's some other things that are flying around. I know that we're losing CK fast when the shoe conversation here is fading fast right here. I took CK into a shoe store when we were in Sparkle City, and he was like, what is all I mean, not what is all of this? It was just like, you guys really pay this type of money for shoes? I was like, I don't. My son, though, if I had more money, I would have gotten him some flash shoes. But now the new thing, or not the new thing, is people are customizing their own shoes with leather paints. And there's a couple of them that the Joe Bello artist guy just released some throwback Panther ones. And he painted the Air Force Ones, and they're just straight fire, dude. So imagine this, CK. Imagine going and paying $200 for a pair of shoes, $150, and then having to turn around and pay somebody $150 to paint them.
I'm
CK
good.
is like, I don't know what that means.
I'm good.
I'm good.
That's why you got money and we're broke, CK. Let's go to.
But by the way, they were $139, but they'll even let you pay them off in installments of $35. So
hey,
if you want a pair, man.
You should say this is I'll pay you when I wear them out. And you would never have
yeah, right. No,
right, let's go to the next call.
50 years old, bro.
Yo, C3, JJ calling in. And it's the last Tuesday show before the 20C3 season.
Let's go.
By all means, I'm excited. I just wanted to say a few thank yous. I've been dwelling and thinking on making this call for a while. But I figured a while ago I would just make it the last call of the off season or whatever. But I just always think it's crazy. I'm going to a Texans game like 8 hours away in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm gonna be meeting people, dapping people up, talking to them like they're friends because I got guys like these, Ilskills, Anthony, possibly even G Baby, and some others going to that game as well. And I'm going to be able to talk to them and like socialize with them for a good part and then enjoy a game like as if I'm going back to Columbus, Ohio, watching a Buckeyes game with high school friends. And like that whole opportunity was created by you yourself, Tony Dunn. And, my words can only go so far as to thank you for that shit. I've said it a few times how crazy that is, but I really just saved this for the last off-season show because I really wanted to thank you for that. Greg as well, I heard last Friday free-for-all you were a veteran. I know you're probably like, where have you been at? Because I'm sure that's been said before, but I finally realized that, and I want to thank you for your service, of course, because my father's a 27-year Army veteran, so I got mad respect for all my veterans in general. I know I give you a lot of shit about Bryce Young, but I still call you Greg because that's your name. I don't like people out their name, but for sure, you got it fucked up about Bryce Young. And of course, thank you, Cody. Always doing Friday free for all. Always there to be consistent, have our back, share his opinion, call everyone a dumbass when they need to be called one. Thank yous all around to CK. How he's always bringing everything back to the table, bringing the great opinions and changing the topic. Thank you just all around to everyone on the CK or C3 podcast. I always enjoy watching it. I think it's crazy. I started watching y'all when I asked my Google Home for a Panthers podcast, and the fact that for the past 3 years I've just been listening to y'all. It's just a thank you worth, and everyone's going to keep pounding all 20C3.
Keep pounding. JJ, yo, what a kind, respectful young man.
What a great call. I got goosebumps. Got goosebumps from that.
Dude, JJ's the homie, man.
What the hell was that? What the hell was that call? Like, I'm ready for this to be a fire show. Like, we're supposed to have JJ start conflict.
Yeah, I know, right? It's out of his norm.
JJ was in his fields. I think this is JJ. What's awesome about that is when you go to the game and you do hang out with these people, you are already friends, and it's wild. It's a wild experience. In fact, I had never even met Greg in person until just this training camp.
Yeah.
And it's wild when you are connected to people in such a true, authentic way, and then you get to meet them.
Yeah, it was weird when he was shorter than Cody.
Yeah. But it's bizarre, and that's what it is.
Here it goes. This is perfect timing.
Oh, look, Greg. We don't have to play the whole call for him. Greg, you can't even hear us.
Yeah, we
can't even hear us. Gregory.
What's up?
Man, we're gonna have to play this a little bit back for you, all right? Because it was.
I was listening to most of it, almost all of it, but yeah, I missed the last. I missed the last little bit. No, last like 10 minutes I missed
of the show.
Yeah, so you missed the call.
Yeah, the show. Yeah, I missed whatever call you're talking about.
I'm gonna fast.
You're gonna be able to talk to them and like socialize with them for a good part, and then enjoy the game like as if I'm going back to Columbus, Ohio, watching a Buckeyes game with high school friends. And like that whole opportunity was created by you yourself, Tony Dunn. And, you know, my words can only go so far as to thank you for that shit. I've said it a few times how crazy that is, but I really just saved this for the last off-season show because I really wanted to thank you for that. Greg as well, I heard last Friday free-for-all you were a veteran. I know you're probably like, where have you been at? Because I'm sure that's been said before, but I finally realized that, and I want to thank you for your service, of course, because my father's a 27-year Army veteran, so I got mad respect for all my veterans in general. I know I give you a lot of shit about Bryce Young, but I still call you Greg because that's your name. You know, I don't like calling people out their name, but for sure, you got it fucked up about Bryce Young. And of course, thank you, Cody.
So this is like
I appreciate you, JJ.
Yeah. So this is great, and we are developing friendships. I tell you this, and I've said this several times on the show, that the pandemic was easy to me because of this podcast. My wife, who in many respects I felt like was the person who liked to go out less than me in the past, flipped. Now she's the one that wants to go out, and I think the pandemic did it to her. Like she was just itching to like go and have like her and her friends would try some of these calls, and they would get together on these little hangout things or whatever. But I was just like this, bro. I was like, man, my life is normal. I'll be up there. I'll be hanging out with my friends each and every week. Let's go to the next call. This is another member of the C3 Army, a very important part. JJ, we're bringing in the youth too. This is what we get. We get like generational soldiers here. Here's Anthony Piccarello. My pod's on.
What's up, C3? It's Anthony from Charlotte. Hope y'all boys are having a good Tuesday, man. Just one more Tuesday show and one more Friday free for all to go until the season officially starts. Really excited, hopeful this season. You know, we have a lot of optimism, you know, throughout the season, from Bryce Young to new coaching staff to some of the pieces on this team. But the one lingering thing that I know you guys obviously discussed earlier in the show, but I have to give my thoughts to this Brian Burns situation. And it kind of goes back to my whole thing about how Scott Fitter is just this organization right now. They're so wishy-washy when it comes to contracts and paying people. It's like, man, we all know Brian Burns isn't worth the Nick Bosa money. Okay, that's obvious. If you say he is, then you're just a Panthers homer. He's only worth it now because the Panthers gave up all their leverage because they didn't trade him. So if this doesn't get done by week one, I'm gonna start getting nervous because we do need him. As much as I've crapped on Brian Burns, I still think he's a good player. I still think he's a superstar. I still think he's a top 8 edge rusher. I just don't think he's Nick Bosa tier. It's like, man, we need these players, and what are we gonna do if he doesn't like sign the contract and he holds out? Are we forced to then trade him then? At that point, someone else is probably gonna offer us a lowball deal because they know that we already declined a haul for him. So it's like, how am I the one that's able to think these scenarios ahead, but this team, and mostly Scott Fitter, who's running this team right now, can't figure this out himself? It's like, man, you declined the trade for him. Why haven't you just overpaid his ass? And yes, I know, even if we do overpay him, the thing I'm worried about is, are we going to be able to retain these other players? I get you have a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract, but what happens when you actually need to bring in free agent talent to this team if Bryce proves he's the guy? We need more talent if we want to compete. You can't seriously sit here and say, this is going to be our future wide receiver room. This is going to be our future cornerback room. This is going to be, future linebacker room. There's still a bunch of holes on this roster. We're in a rebuild. And it pisses me off that Brian Burns is just doing this bullshit because everyone thought, oh, he's a great dude. Like, he's showing up to camp. He's just been trying to buddy us to get the most money out of us. And, like, this is the thing. I don't really think he cares about the team success. I just think he cares about the money at this point. So it really pisses me off, man. We need him back or they need to trade him. Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pounding.
Anthony came in hard in the paint for Brian Burns. I just saw this fly across X. It said an anonymous NFL agent says Nick Bosa has all the leverage over the 49ers and that 28 of the 31 other teams would pay him the money that he wants. Nick Bosa and his agent, Brian Ayrault, know this. There never was going to be a hometown discount. They know that they can get their money on the open market, and Brian is one hell of a negotiator. Bosa has all the leverage. Now, the thing is though you don't, because you're in your 5th-year option. So it's not like you can just go into free agency. They can franchise tag you. They can make your life miserable at the same time. Colin, we knew they weren't going to give him the hometown discount because San Francisco has to be like the worst city for Nick Bosa to live in. Like he just
so liberal. He's like a conservative.
Yeah,
dude.
I saw a great tweet or a great X or a post, whatever we're supposed to call it now.
I just call it tweets.
I know. I think I might be the same way, but somebody said that Brian Bosa removed all of his.
Nick Bosa.
Nick Bosa removed all of his or unfollowed and removed
49ers on Truth Social.
On Truth Social, yeah, dude. That was a top-notch tweet for me.
I mean, listen, again, I don't know all the ins and outs, but I know that they looked okay last year without him. They have a lot of talent, but I understand what Nick is saying, that unlike Brian Burns, right, who...
what Anthony's saying, you mean?
But no, I'm saying, unlike Brian Burns, who we've made the point that he is by far more important to the Panthers as a whole than a Bosa might be to the 49ers, a lot of other teams view Nick Bosa as the best pass rusher in the NFL. But to go off of Anthony's call, my question is, do you think there's a chance that we trade Brian Burns? Like, is there any chance that we say, all right, you want to play hardball that much? Go and get paid somewhere else. Because my argument, boys, has always been this. If the Panthers are not going to pay him that amount, there is some team somewhere that's going to find the cash to be able to do so. What if Kansas City said, all right, you know what? Yeah, we're not going to be able to have Jones, but we'll take a Brian Burns and put him right on this team right now. Or Philadelphia, or one of these other teams.
So we switch that Burns for Houston and Kansas City.
Oh gosh, I know.
Basically.
You get Houston.
Hey, so Cody, you're telling me that you seriously think that right now, another team would pay $30 million for Brian Burns?
Yeah, I'm saying it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
No, really? I don't think they would.
I just don't think he's put up the numbers for that yet. I'm not saying he can't. I just don't think he has yet.
I think we have
sacks last year, right? I mean, that's great, but it's not. That
was his first double-digit sack. Look, I've seen people going, and you know who is one. We need to get some G Baby in on this because he doesn't believe it.
Yeah,
I think for me, and I have actually, which
really called me on my phone yesterday.
Who,
to
G-Baby?
Fight, yes, to fight with me about Brian Burns, dude.
That's awesome. Well, that's what people do on phones. They call you. I don't know if you knew that.
I mean, yeah.
That's awesome.
Since when does that happen?
I know. You know what? I don't use my phone as a phone either. So what am I talking about? I think this is one thing to kind of show how important I think, or how much I think Brian Burns has more leverage with the Panthers than Nick Bosa does with the 49ers, just because, like you said, is they have so much more talent that they could weather the storm in so many ways. Now, they're also trying to win a Super Bowl right now while that talent is there. So that is the leverage, is the win now mentality that they need to have before all this generational talent has to move on or becomes old. I think the Panthers, again, we've said this, is Brian Burns has more leverage because there isn't any of that depth. There isn't a plan for life without Brian Burns. And if we don't pay him or don't trade, you're going to have to pay somebody in the near future big time money anyway, right? So that's one thing. It's just if that's just going to kick the can down the curve a little bit, you know, right? And then, but for me, the last part about this is to show how much leverage I think Brian Burns has. Is I've been consistently the person on this podcast that says he isn't among the top tier of defensive ends, right? Like I've been the one to say he's a very good player, but not a superstar throughout the league. And even I recognize that, hey, guess what? We need a really good player right now. We could use a superstar. We want him to turn into a superstar, but we don't have the luxury of having a defense without Brian Burns. And if we do go life without Brian Burns, what would be in the trade? You know what is maybe you would have to trade to who's the guy that's mad at Las Vegas right now? They locked him out of the damn
Chandler Jones.
You know, but that I don't know if that would even be I don't even know if that would be a lateral move, in my opinion. I think that would Chandler Jones be a downgrade from Brian Burns?
I don't think it's a downgrade, but I do think that it's not and really like insane improvement.
Yeah.
So
I mean, but
Chandler Jones is not a bad player, but I think he's also living the hype off of that one game like 2 seasons ago in Arizona when
like
he got like 5 sacks
against us. Was it
Taylor
against
Lewan?
us?
No, it was against the Titans. Because Taylor Lewan came out. It was probably last year, I think. Maybe not. But you know, he definitely fell off after that. I don't know that he is the pass rusher that he was 5 years ago.
Yeah, I wouldn't, but I mean, I guess if you were
better
Cody,
than nothing,
you brought the question up: could you trade? What would you see the Panthers want? What would you want to get for
2
Brian Burns?
picks?
Yeah.
Do you think anybody's realistically going to give that now? I think that
they were the Rams were going to give it to us last year.
That was just desperation Rams when they don't know what to do.
Well, dude, the Panthers front office screwed us over because now whatever team that does trade with us, they're probably going to say, like, they know that we have no other choice other than to trade him. So now they can give us less than what the Rams were going to give us last year. That's what I'm saying, dude. Right now, the Brian Burns has the Panthers by the balls, unlike any other player has ever had this organization by the balls before.
No, you know what? You can say that, and you can say the ball's in Brian Burns' court, but what I really think is that the Panthers have Brian Burns balls in their hands. Because look,
I don't think so.
You can say that. You're right. They can offer us that. Guess what? We ain't got to pay it. We don't have to take it. The final thing is in our hands.
And they could even tag him.
He's under contract. Exactly. We don't have to take it. You're going to offer us this, or we're going to keep him.
This isn't even as bad as a franchise tag dispute that you're seeing with, you know what I'm saying, is like while Brian Burns wants this to happen, if the Panthers really want to be dicks about it, they could just say, screw it. We'll just we don't negotiate contracts during the season. What if they fucking come out and say that?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, so
it done that in the past where they say we just don't do it in season. Wasn't the Ravens that tried to do that? I can't remember who it was. Is that we don't talk contracts during the season? That's what the off season's for.
It's gonna hurt both parties involved.
Yeah.
The longer that they wait, like it's essentially a waiting game. They're playing chicken. Who is gonna flinch first? Because again, I want to reiterate the point, Greg, that we do not have a first round pick next year. So if this defense falls off a cliff without Brian Burns in a 3-4 defense, then I mean, you're not even able to recuperate a high draft pick next year.
I guarantee you the Panthers are in a better position, whether it be Burns holding out or Burns getting traded, to cut off the arm to save the body than Burns is. Do you get what I'm saying? Like it
would
may be a
hurt
bad
this
situation, but would you
near
cut
term,
off your arm to save your body, to save your life? And that's kind of what it is with Brian Burns right here. Like, it sucks. I want Brian Burns. Don't get me wrong. I want Brian Burns, and I want him to get paid. But I think he's asking for a lot to get paid like Bosa numbers, because I just don't think he's at that level yet.
I think they need to meet him in the middle.
There.
What if they just say this? We offered you
yes,
23. You want 30. Let's give you $26 million and get this thing done. $26 million a year.
I could live with that.
And here is just make it up in different, is the other thing that's so fucking problematic about us trying to speculate on all this is who really cares what the average per year is. That's not really how contracts work. It's about, hey, what can we do on the bottom line and the guaranteed money? What can we do in these other things that make that 23 average a year more, because who cares if you average $30 million a year, but we could cut you in 2 years. That's not $30 million a year, So really it always comes down to the guaranteed money. So, and then here's the thing is if Brian Burns if his agent isn't willing to meet them in the middle, then you see that they are really playing hardball.
Yeah.
And that's what it actually, because if they offer, they're not going to offer them the most in the first offer. Right. I think
25, 26 is where they need to land.
Yeah. And just get it. Just say, and if it's $27 million to get it done, then let's do it. But if he's not out there, we can't afford. And I think this is what Brian Burns does know here is that while he can't afford to sit out all season, he might be able to sit out week 1 and week 2. And that could fuck the whole. Now, if he does that, what kind of problems does that create between him and the organization and him and the fans? If Brian Burns sits out week 2, does your opinion of him change?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really? 100%. I'm sorry, but it does.
I mean, how can it
really
not?
feel like he's abandoning us for not taking less than he feels that he's worth, even if it's not highest paid?
No, I think it's the sitting out part. It's not the money part. It's just like, hey, I'm going to sit out the 2 most important weeks of the season.
That's my concern is like if and we're already going to be at a disadvantage starting out the year with a new coach, a new QB, a new defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, every possible thing that you can ask for to be needing to kind of get shushed out and it to be a divisional opponent. Like we need that, we need his production on the field. The difference here is like I think Greg and I are on the same page in this regard. Like the idea of holding out when you're already signed your contract and agreed to play is a weird one, right? Like this,
you don't really get a choice as a rookie. You have to take that.
Sure, but you went into the league knowing that you were going to be getting paid that amount of money, and like if you didn't like it, you didn't have to enter the draft. You didn't have to go to the NFL. You didn't have to do that, right? So I want Brian Burns to get paid, but not at the expense of our team failing to be able to actually produce at the beginning of the season. We know that the beginning of the season can be a pretty big impact on how the rest of the season goes. And if we start off on a 0-2 basis, and it's Brian Burns holding out, looks like it could have been the catalyst that changed that. I don't think it's just the fans and the organization. Think about all those men in the locker room who have been working their ass off all offseason and who have showed up.
The year of 20C3.
But they've all come out in favor of him being paid too.
They have, but not at the expense of their own success.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. I agree with CK 100% here. I also want to add to this. I'm sorry. And I don't care. I'm breaking this down to the bare bones and the bedrock of this argument. Anybody who turns down $25 million a year to play something because it's not enough money for them, go screw yourself. Sorry.
Well, again, I think it's about 10%, 5%. The difference in making 10% or 5% on 20 million is a lot.
Can we also talk about something? We've made a lot of assumptions too. There is not a single report that says that Brian Burns is not going to play. even if he doesn't get paid.
There were a couple of
there are things that are hinting at it, but
that they were saying they would not be surprised if he's not playing week 1.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is there isn't a single shred of this is reporting saying that Brian Burns plans to hold out. It's people. I wouldn't be surprised. Like that's just an absolute misleading situation, right? If it'd be different if Brian Burns himself wasn't showing, like Brian Burns literally said in his press conference that he's there because he believes what they're building is bigger than him.
Holy shit. What about this? This just blew my mind right here. Sideshow says, imagine if we go 2-0 without Brian Burns.
Yeah,
Is there a risk for Brian Burns monetarily, or does that just go, oh, we would be so much better with him? That would be crazy. I think the wild part about this for me is that now I'm revisiting the concept of should we have taken the deal from the Rams?
Yeah.
And that's sad is like, but in retrospect, that was the right time to rebuild.
Right.
You know, it's the exact right time to rebuild. You're firing your coach. I think, again, so many problems happened to us last year in that stupid, we might back into the playoffs. That fucking made us delirious, dude. It made us like on some kind of drug or something that we were like, all of a sudden last year mattered. Because if we were going to back into the playoffs, we weren't really good anyway. So even if you just make it, it's like a token invitation. I would have almost just rather for last season to have been bad and to truly inherently do the rebuilds. And we have continued throughout all of this, even in the Matt Rule stuff, always been like, oh, we're better than we are. Oh, fuck it. We're not rebuilding. We're retooling. And having 2 first-round draft picks, then being able to trade for Bryce Young. So then you actually you didn't lose a first-round draft pick. We would have
DJ Moore.
Yeah,
I mean, but it's like
that's my question. Do you still have DJ Moore if you make that trade?
Oh no,
Burns,
they wanted
you
to
still
play
have Bryce Young.
I wanted to lose every game in 2020 to get Trevor Lawrence. Okay, so I know the feeling of wanting to do a rebuild the proper way. The fact of the matter is, we were gonna compete for the division. I feel like as a fan, if your team is in the running, you gotta pull for your team to make the playoffs, no matter how meaningless it might be once you get to the playoffs. By the way,
but we could have institutionally tanked. But go ahead, let's do this super chat.
D'Angelo, the legend with the $5 love bomb, says Panther fans are such pocket watchers. Hence, Greg, this is professional football, not an everyday 9 to 5. This man should get paid at least $27 million a year. And
I believe that whenever we were talking about before, Tony, didn't we say like 25, 26 was right at what we were comfortable with paying? That's pretty close to 27, I think. So I don't really know what.
Well, I think he's saying this is that and I think they do bring a fair point. If you would go back to what you said too last week about like comparing how hard people work and this and that is that there's only a certain finite amount of people that can actually do this. Brian Burns can go deliver mail. We can't go be defensive ends in the NFL. That's just
I agree.
Physically
I agree with that.
So that creates an inherent value. And then you go to this. I would argue this though is. It might not be clear or as concrete that he deserves $27 million. Now, I think there are people that have been arguing. Pickle has been at the forefront of this debate on X right now about, is that like, wow, the reason is going to get that money is because of timing and leverage, not because of just actual production. And then I think there's other people to say, look, he's been consistently very good, and this is how it goes. So, look, the number's 252-228-5098. White Chocolate Espresso member for 9 months, C3 super fan for 9 months. Don't forget, for just $1.99, you could become a C3 super fan. And this year, we're going to be C3 super fans are eligible for the Mega Mingo drawing each and every week. When we hit a Mega Mingo, we're giving away a Jonathan Mingo jersey. He says Burns will sign at 0 hour. Papa Xanax and chill. Let's go to Anthony for part 2 of his call.
I can hear G Baby's call, man.
What's up, C3? I'm back. Quick part 2. Just wanted to say I'm happy people are finally understand that Scott Fitterer is an overrated GM, and this is literally a prime example. You know, bringing back players like Dante Jackson, Shaq Thompson, you know, after Rule was fired, but then like this Brian Burns thing, who, yeah, he's been the best player on our defense for sure. I'm just finally happy that people are understanding where I'm coming from this man. Like, we can't let him walk. It's just ridiculous, man. Really. And I do want to get my week 1 thoughts real quick. You know, this season, I'm just looking to see how Bryce Young develops from week to week, how the offensive line plays, how the defense looks in this 3-4. There's really not else much we can ask for, man. I mean, listen, I haven't been as high on these free agent signings and these weapons and stuff as other people have. And now you kind of see why. I mean, we just don't have depth, and it's going to take some gelling, and that's okay. I just think everyone wants to win right now. And like, I get that. This is a whole new regime, and we're still dealing with the scraps from Matt Rule. Like, we can still win games 100%. It's just, I don't know. There's so much up in the air right now that we honestly have no idea about. Like, it's crazy. And I'm just going to say this. This is going to piss a lot of people off. But this is the prime example why I was kind of on the Brian Burns trade train last October. Because the Rams offered us a crazy package. I mean, a second pick 36, which is basically 4 picks from the first round. Almost 3 first-round picks, really, for Brian Burns. Like, dude, if they suck this year and this Brian Burns thing turns out to go the wrong way, dude, we could have missed out on a potential top 5 pick in 2024 and 2025. It's ridiculous, but Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pounding, boys. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, thank you,
Yes,
Anthony.
sir.
And that is now when we looking back, and that's the one thing is you go back and wow, Cody, you said that why would you not cheer for it? But at the same time, we could cheer for the players on the field, but institutional tanking can happen, right?
Oh,
Shedding
yeah.
money,
I'm a firm believer
acquiring
in that.
picks. And we really have kind of middle-toed the line all along the way. When Matt Rule came in, it was like, let's get Teddy Bridgewater and make it a bridge. And then all of a sudden, we always taste a little bit of success in Carolina. And it's been so long since we've had real, true success. And we think it's like fool's gold. It's a mirage. That 3-0 start with Sam Darnold. You're like, holy fuck, man, this is going to be it. And then you're like, nope, wait till week 6. Like Cody says, we'll know about this team. And it's like we've always kind of middle-toed the line of building a team. And if this doesn't work out right, in fact, and it could work out wrong. You could pay Brian Burns a shit ton of money and it not turn out to be the player. He could have it could go the wrong way and you get Brian Burns. It could go the wrong way and you missed that opportunity with the Rams. Crazy to think how much they were offering. I can't believe. I still want to know if that was actually true. And now that reporters, Mike Kay is citing it and some things, I have to believe that the offer was real. I almost felt like it was like a leak from teams say like, oh, we offered this because I think Green Bay was trying to trade too or whatever.
But I do believe that the Rams
numbers.
But remember, the Rams have done this before. They traded away a bunch of picks. They believe
they don't care.
They believe in a window with which to be able to be the most competitive as possible. And so it doesn't surprise me that they were going to trade that much for Brian Burns. And by the way, the Rams are looking like they're going to be one of the worst teams in football this year. So you're talking about the Panthers. We could have, dude, right now we could have a top 5 pick in the draft potentially going into next year.
Yeah.
And now we don't have that, man. I feel like that Scott Fitterer had some grand master plan on when and how he would do this deal. And I think it blew up in his face.
I think you very well could be right, Cody. And I agree with you. I think this should have been done way before now. Like, we should be way past this point with Brian Burns right now. Either have him signed or traded. I would hope signed. But my question is, so what if Scott Fitterer does somehow end up trading Brian Burns and getting 2 firsts and a second, like we originally wanted to get? Next year, we have a first-round pick back, 2 firsts in 2025. What are you guys going to say about Scott Fitterer then? Everybody who's been shitting on him, what are you going to say about that?
I mean, dude,
I don't know. You know what is what I would think is it would take a lot for us. It would take the time for it to work out for us to be happy. Because I think if we made that trade right now, you go, oh, we don't really believe we're going to be good this year. And we have a lot of hope.
I can see that.
It might be false hope. It might be inflated hope at this point. But like the season, we don't want to squander the season now.
Right.
I think we could have accepted
2-0?
it. If we could have accepted it last year.
Right.
I don't know. I can't see a team giving 2 first-round picks for Brian Burns. I'm sorry. I just can't see it. I wouldn't do it if I was a team.
Well, we have one in 2025, right? So we're just missing one in 2024. So what if we go 2-0? Brian Burns sits out. We go 2-0. This is hypothetical. Once again, I want to sign Brian Burns. I'm just putting things out there. We go 2-0, and then we trade Brian Burns for a first-round pick next year to the Rams, or to somebody that we're possibly get a high draft pick next year in the first round. What do you say then? Like,
I would be sad. I would be sad.
I would be sad too, because I think Brian Burns needs to be a Panther.
And I would just say this is that I don't think that this team is out of it this year. Last year, I would have said I didn't believe in the coach. I didn't believe in the QB.
Says we're out of it.
Yeah. Really? Maybe starting 2-0. I guess that adds a different caveat.
By the way, keep in mind that would have involved them trading away a total of 3 players: Christian McCaffrey, Brian Burns, and DJ Moore. Dude, if that's not tanking, I don't know what is.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like those are literally all of your marquee players.
We still almost made the playoffs last year, man. I know you want to ignore that, but we did. We still almost made the playoffs. Right. So it's call it tanking if you want to, but
Craig, like Tony said earlier, it's so hollow though. You know that the division is terrible, and you know that once you do get into the playoffs,
you're just gonna get
stand 0 chances, and you know you're getting dirt stomped whenever you play San Fran.
Like a real team.
But you know what? That championship banner hangs in the stadium, and I still love it just as much. It's just like when I pick up a strike on the left side. It's still a strike.
I hear you. But by the way, I also
7-8 in 1 year.
I agree with Eric. But the $2 says if Scott doesn't get a first for Burns, fire him. I'm a firm believer that Fitterer is on the hot seat, y'all. And then White Chocolate Espresso says people sound like some moist boys. Oh, shut up. Your team is just sorry. Yeah. And also, like
D'Angelo
this
says
the most important member of our defense. Of course, we're gonna worry about it and talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the next call. The number's 252-228-5098. 179 people watching. Smash the thumbs up button, please. Subscribe. And after the show, for the algorithm, leave a comment and I'll reply to it with a short. That's the new thing that I'm going to be rocking now. Leave a comment to the show afterwards and I will reply with your own individual short. Let's go to the next call.
What's up, C3? This is Raleigh Panther, aka Levi, calling in.
What's up, Raleigh?
I'm going to keep it brief tonight. I'm sure you guys are already chopping it up over the Brian Burns extension and, just some last-minute headlines before we go into week 1. But, I'm just calling in and just throwing some optimism in there, man. I feel like there's always something that we can find to be anxious about, whether it's the offensive line depth or most recently, Brian Burns extension. But damn, man, I'm just excited to watch some football. I can't wait to watch Bryce Young. I feel good on this team, even if it doesn't all happen this year. I just feel like we took a step in the right direction. And I'm just excited, man. I'm going to be rocking with y'all all season, listen every Tuesday. And I hope you guys have a great night, man. Peace.
Thank you so much for the call. We appreciate it. And, I think this is It's wild. I think part of the reason that I couldn't endorse like the Brian Burns last year or wrap my head around sending him away is because we didn't have a quarterback. But now I'm like, this is what happens when if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, there's nobody that's expendable except for Patrick Mahomes. And if Bryce Young turns out to be our Patrick Mahomes, what somebody said in the chat was, it's so hard to find a top tier defensive end. It may be, but we have the ability to go look for one. Is that we needed Brian Burns. I don't know. I'm not saying he's expendable now. That's not what I'm trying to say. I just feel like this is the optimum. We have the star. Yeah, we have the star to chart our course to chart our future to. So you're either part of it or you're not at this point. And it's the Bryce. Now we have to have Bryce Young pan out. Now I'm putting everything into that, and I'm just believing that at this point. But we made our move. We made our move for our quarterback. Yeah. We have, and I've said it over and over for years on this show. Being in a land without a quarterback is a land I don't want to live in. And for the people that didn't like Cam Newton and talked about all the negatives with Cam Newton, you just had the positives of Cam Newton, though. That's the thing is like, yeah, was Cam Newton flawed in certain ways? Where could he have been better in certain ways? Was he? No, but you know what? He was fucking awesome in a lot of ways. And having that awesomeness is better than not having that awesomeness. Having a quarterback is better than not having a quarterback. And I would say right now, having Brian Burns is better than not having Brian Burns.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And again, we've been through this thing where we made Cam Newton be the beginning, middle, and end of our team. The team went the way Cam went. We have a nasty history of doing this. It was the same thing with Christian McCaffrey for a time too. The team went as McCaffrey went. So it's like I want to be able to put players around him. And dude, listen, people can say that I'm wild about this. I don't even believe in the salary cap. I don't even believe in it, man. So many of these teams have found ways to skirt around it and make ways in and out of it.
I love how this.
I'm not worried about it, man. And
what
no
about
one
this
else
is like as soon as someone signs an extension, they restructure it.
Yeah,
it's like, oh man, Aaron Rodgers paid all this money, restructured. I saw another one. It's just like they restructure every single contract. Most recently was I saw someone that would just sign one, and they have already started moving the bonuses around and things like that. Let's go to the next call.
Woo! This is Panther Pickle. I guess my opinions about Brian Burns and his upcoming contract doesn't sit well with some folks on Twitter. Well, too freaking bad. I believe Brian Burns wants to be paid one of the highest. And since the highest guy currently makes $28 million, it's common sense to say that he wants to be paid maybe a little bit more than that if he could. So therefore, it's $30 million. And that's called resetting the market. And a lot of folks, a lot of Panther fans, maybe not necessarily the ones that you guys are talking to today, but a great deal of them don't understand what resetting the market means. Maybe we should explain that. Maybe have an upcoming class on what resetting the market means. There's a 50-50 chance he plays Sunday. I'm just going to tell you straight up, if he don't play, I don't think we're going to win. Do I want to give him $30 million? No, not really. I just think if you pay Brian Burns $30 million, you're going to hurt yourself in the long run on down the road. We've done that before. We've given big contracts out to players and ended up hurting ourselves on down the road because of it and lost good, talented guys. Okay. And that's why I say that, because I've seen it before. You take the 49ers have all that talent. Yeah, it took them to no damn Super Bowl. And to be honest with you, they're kind of in a bad cap way now, and they still have to figure out how to pay Nick Bosa. So, paying everybody the top value of every position ain't necessarily the answer. But keep pounding in. Go Tennessee Vols.
All right, man.
Pound.
Greg,
I got to definitely got it. Well, now I got a question before we go to something else, but I got to comment on this right here. Like, I feel like Pickle, I agree with you and disagree with you on that because you I feel like you contradicted yourself, especially closing saying you don't always pay somebody that's in the top position, the top money, which felt like the beginning of your argument was pay that because it's set in the market. Here's my thing, man. Like, you set the market with a player who is top of the league. And while I love Brian Burns and I think he can get there, he has not got there yet. You don't reset the market with somebody like Brian Burns. And here's the thing everybody's got to understand, okay? The only reason that we reset the market or pay that much money is because we choose to do so. I guarantee you, if the NFL decided to hold out to stop paying these players this much, the NFL would last longer than these players would. I guarantee it. We don't want to go down that road, but I guarantee you that's what happens. Okay? So, like, think about it. 20 years ago, we're paying players $500,000 a year. Now we're arguing when players don't get $100 million in their contract. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I think we should pay Brian Burns a very good salary, 26 to 27 million, 25, 27 is my range, because he is a good player and can perform more. You can always renegotiate if he does better, but you have not played to be the number one defensive end or linebacker or whatever position you want to put him at in the NFL. You just haven't. I'm sorry. I love Brian Burns. I want to buy a 0 jersey. I want him to be a Panther, but you're not that guy right now. Be that guy, then you have the leverage. Beyond that, the team has all the leverage. They don't have to sign you for nothing. Like, you're under contract. They don't have to sign you. I'm tired of people saying that he has leverage. They don't, because in the end, whoever has the final pin and writes the check has all the leverage.
All right. What did you have a question before we move on to the next call?
I did, but damn it, now I can't remember what the question was because I got so fired up about that thing right there.
All right. Well, here, let's go to the next call.
What's up, C3 Nation? It's game week.
Yes,
rookie quarterbacks are, since 2002 was the last time a rookie quarterback has won their first game, and that was David Carr.
Wow, 2002 is the last
so
time?
Since then, starting quarterback, rookie quarterbacks are 0-13-1. But
yeah, that was the stat that I was looking for.
You know, in college, the North Carolina teams won. Yeah, that North Carolina Duke team that whooped them Clemson Taters' ass, and my Gamecocks got the ass whooped too. Maybe this North Carolina team gets performance to keep going. Hey, it's game week. Let's go football, bitches!
Hey, let's go! Hey, I'm even gonna dismiss the fact that you shit on my Tigers, but dude, listen, I'm happy that football is back, man. Again, I hate that we're dealing with this. Like, there's a part of me that even wishes that Brian Burns would have just held out training camp too. So at least we knew what we were working with. You know, I think the fact that the Panthers, you know, passed up on the opportunity to trade him last year, and Brian Burns was there all of training camp, both sides lured us into this sense of security that this wasn't going to be an issue. And it is an issue. And that's what's so frustrating. I hate that we're just now having to deal with
I think the good thing about him going to training camp, just period, for me, is that I think the potential for injury is less than had he had missed that. Like, so I think the potential for Nick Bosa to go out there and get injured is higher than it is for Brian Burns to go out there and get higher. And I know that, like, injuries happen. It could happen to anybody. But I think that kind of football shape, there's a difference between weight room shape and like the football shape. It's a different thing. So you've seen how many times have you seen guys coming off of injuries who are in the best shape of their life and then immediately are nicked up? Christian McCaffrey being one of those people in the past. So I do like the idea of Brian Burns being, you know, showing he can stay healthy and, or, you know, being, I mean, it was a risk in his own right. But if we do go out and pay him, the worst thing you would hate is for him to have to miss time because of, like, oh, he's dealing with a groin injury or something like that. So I really hope that, I think Wednesday, a lot of people, when is the 0 hour that Kev was talking about? Shaq Thompson mentioned Wednesday. And I think Wednesdays begin the real deep preparations for the Falcons, right? Because they're already doing walkthroughs yesterday and today, or practices. But I think you're getting in your routine of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, off day on Saturday. You're practicing your 2 minutes. Like, there's so many things that are important in that succession of events. So is that 0 hour Wednesday for you guys? Is it Thursday? Is it Friday? Is it Saturday?
To me, it's Friday. Then you're going into the weekend. I mean, you're traveling on Saturday to go to Atlanta. So it's like, if we don't have a contract heading into the weekend, dude, this season is not going to start off great.
Well, can I ask, I know that we always want to side with the players against the owners and everything else because players deserve money. Well, no, I mean, and I'm bringing up a point about that. Like, if you're Brian Burns, like we talked about, where you've been in training camp, you've been in I didn't even play a preseason game, but you've been in practices and everything else, and you've led this team to believe that you're going to be there, and they've built around you as the defensive guy, and then you hold out. Like, is that the ownership being assholes? Like, I agree they should have paid him by now, but I mean, if you're saying, well, I'm going to hold out, then does some blame have to go to the player here?
I mean,
you're building a whole season around this player being there.
Well, I think the PR, so much is important about how you look, right?
Right.
And we've seen the power of that in the past, where Greg Olson and Thomas Davis could go to the fans directly and get more money. Basically, they crowdsourced and crowd pressured their teams into reworking their deals. I think Brian Burns, at least we've been so complimentary of how he has played this to be the team guy. You wonder if you squander that cachet by sitting out. As he has. And so that was something we asked a little bit earlier, is how does that change the narrative of going? So I think for Nick Bosa, he's able to do that because his name value. I think too, the market is different. The team, they're used to. I think the Panther fan base, and maybe we're changing, maybe we're not, but I feel like fans we do pick favorites, and we love the team guys. We love these, and I would say that I'd be interested to see what that does for his standing among fans if he was to sit out multiple weeks.
Here's the thing that I think is where, if you want to kind of feel where Burns is coming from, he's been here through training camp, like Greg said. He showed up, he's told them he wants to be there, and maybe he had all intentions of doing so until the team potentially isn't showing enough interest in signing him to the deal that he finds himself to be most valuable at. Right. So what I've learned, and this is something that, is across the board, and it's an unfortunate reality of the world we live in. I'm a debt collector, as many of you guys know. And I would love to tell you that if you call me up and you're the nicest person in the face of the planet, that I would give you the best deal possible because you're so nice. It's not how the world works. If you're not willing to fight, they're not going to give it to you.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. Same thing, and I'll give you an example. So somebody who's super nice calls me up. I want to settle my debt for 50% of the balance. Well, I can't do that. I'm sorry. Okay. They go get an attorney who's not going to play nice, and they get that 50% settlement. Right? It's the world we live in. It's you got
to play hardball at some point.
You have to, and that's where you kind of understand where Burns is coming from.
Yeah.
If again, this is a lot of big ifs.
It's a lot of ifs. Yes,
it's a lot of big ifs. We don't know that Brian Burns is holding out. There's a lot of people making assumptions about Brian Burns right now, and there's been no official statement on what he plans on doing come Sunday afternoon. Right. So a lot of these people who are at this point dogging on him and saying that he's this bad person, you're literally basing it off of one or two people's tweets, 3 or 4 different people's tweets that are saying they wouldn't be surprised. No, nobody would be surprised if he held out. Everybody'd be disappointed, but not a single person here would be surprised.
And that reputation would be repaired as soon as he got one sack.
And look,
You know,
Chad
like
brings
that
it up
anger.
perfectly. Sorry, Chad brings up perfectly right here in the chat where it's like, I feel like something had to have changed very, very recently because you don't go into training camp with the Panthers like you are planning the game plan if you think that they're going to not give you something close to what you want. I'm sorry, it would have been a bigger deal earlier. What Chad's saying right there is like, you're not going to be this happy going into the season knowing you're not going to get what you want. Something as of late, like recently, has changed where I think they may have been close to what he wanted, and something happened where he wants more now. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not. And once again, I want Brian Burns. I want this guy. $27 million. Give it to him.
Yeah.
You know? But I just think that there has to have been something that have changed recently.
I'm with Cody. Is who really cares at this point? It's kind of when if you have to move and you're selling your house, like you don't have the luxury of waiting, right? If you've got a timeline, so you got to just take the offer. Like we don't have the luxury of lowballing Brian Burns at this point. So just figure out a way to cut somebody in the future, skimp another player in the future, and just eat the bad interest rate or whatever, because it's only just going to get worse if things go on forward. Yeah. Let's go back to JJ.
Hey guys, this is JJ. Enough of that saucy shit. All right, Greg, Bryce will be the greatest and win Rookie of the Year. And Tony, please refer to Ohio State as Ohio State and not Ohio. That, like, I'm chill about everything, but that actually drives me up a wall. No lie.
I say Ohio, I don't say Ohio State.
Get off your back for Derek Brown. J.C. Horn's way better than him. It is what it is. He's the second best player on their defense.
Oh, shut up.
Keep on it.
Man, J.C. Horn has not done Derek Brown's done more for this defense than J.C. Horn has.
I have a very interesting bet on the Bryce Young Offensive Rookie of the Year thing going on here. It's going to be fun to see what happens this year.
I mean, I think there's a possibility for it to happen. I really do. I'm really expecting Bryce to have a great year. I am, but I think great year in my mind is different than what some of you guys like. This whole 5,000 yard shit or 440. I think
and two things can be true.
I think those stats that they put up for Madden is like what I would set the line at if I was Vegas, which was 38. What was it? 3,800 yards. CK, 23 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Is that I think those are right around the mark we talked about. Is like if he goes over that, I could see it being a really great season. If he gets to 4,000 yards, fucking that's going to be amazing. If he gets 25 touchdowns, that's fucking amazing. I think 23 is very, very good, right? But if he's 25 and 7, man, that's fucking incredible.
It is. And two things can be true here, Tony. Like you can have a great season and still not win Rookie of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year.
I mean, because Bijan could go and have 15, you know, there's other players out there too.
Well, and I think where we get mixed up with this too is the word expectations. It's not necessarily that, we expect that he will have this amount of number of touchdowns and this amount of number of yards. It's that he as a player, I believe, is capable of that. And it doesn't surprise me if he does have one of those high-end number type of years, compared to other rookie quarterbacks. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I understand you set expectations. You're setting yourself up for failure, especially when you don't know what kind of team you're going to have on both sides of the football. But
I wish
if you're going to say he's going to
Prize Picks, I wonder what Prize Picks has for him on the season.
Yeah, but they already do. They already have one for him for the season.
Well, and that's a touchy subject too there, Cody, because like if you're going to say that he's going to be great, if you're going to say he's going to be great, then you have to have some kind of expectations. Well, you can't say he's going to be great
right now,
but I have no expectations, because then that's very hollow.
Prize Picks 3,200 yards,
even you,
right? That's what I'm saying. So exactly, I do. So if you say he's going to be great, then you have expectations of him being great.
No, I'm saying that he has the capability to be.
He's saying the difference
player
between what he expects and what he could see happening. So he could see a 4,500 yard season, which is ridiculous.
Right, but isn't that kind of just hedging your bets?
I
what
think
do
so
you
too.
expect is the
like,
question.
what do you?
Yeah, I get that
I'm
anybody can go out there and
on
have
the
a terrible
more
rookie
on this
season.
3,200 yards, dude. I'm kind of
I
in on the
am
more
too,
than
yeah.
that. All right, let's go to the next call.
Hi, Zon. You know who this is. How you doing?
What's up,
Listen,
Muscles?
I know today's show's going to be, Brian Burns, the Panthers, with this sitting out of practice contract gimmick shaving. You know, kind of sucks, shitty timing. Football's back. Everybody should be talking about, first game Sunday. Instead of talking about this fucking guy and his fucking contract. But hey, hopefully they can get something fucking done. I'm excited for football, but I don't want this sumbitch sitting out game one with thin enough an edge rusher, especially with that pussy fucking Marquis Haynes going on IR and shit. So anyway, hopefully they get a deal done and figure something the fuck out. Because if not, it's going to be a long fucking day for that defensive line, man. Telling you straight up. Anyway, boys, good show. Keep pounding. Stay saucy.
Man, thank you for the call, Muscles Marinara.
I still dream about your subs.
Monster Subs and Spartanburg. You guys got to check it out. And he's right. And the thing that really hurts about so much of it is we saw how inept that defense was in the preseason without Brian Burns and Justin Houston. All we said was, it's not gonna be that. It's gonna be better than that. It's gonna be better than that. And then you go against a team that really wants to run the ball against you. It's going to be a tough outing for the Carolina Panthers, I think, defensively, just because they are able to manufacture those rushing yards. But, man, we really need them. That's it. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it, is that this team is not prepared to play this season. Hell, we don't even know how good we're going to be with Brian Burns on defense, let alone without him. So
it's just we all agree we'd rather have him than not.
We got to have him. Let's go to the next call.
What's going on, C3 family? D from Sanford. Shout out to Cody, Tony, the whole family.
What up, D?
That's out there. Panther Pickle, G baby, all of you. I got nothing but love for y'all. What I really want to come with y'all is how I'm so overly excited about to get ready to get our hands on Desmond Ridder and Bijan and them with the Falcons.
Yes,
I
sir.
feel like we don't have a turnover field game and penalties and so forth. We should be able to get that first win at 6. Now that I got that out the way, we're going to keep pounding. I just really want to say with this Brian Burns situation, I don't want to allow myself to overreact. I don't want to read into something that maybe there's nothing there. I don't think that really technically we're really worried about a holdout. I mean, he went all through training camp or whatever. So if, they're saying the excuse that he's holding out not to get hurt before a deal, I don't buy that. Not one bit, because if that's the case, he had the whole training camp to doggone possibly have gotten hurt. So I won't run with that one in any form or fashion. I'm hearing a lot of people panicking, talking about we should have took the Rams picks and all that. Let's be quite honest. If Brian Burns did not want to be here, I do not feel like he would have been in training camp. I don't feel like he would have said what he said. Also, in the same breath, Brian Burns has never shown a lack of integrity, at least to this point, that we can't just sit there and think that he lied to us. I do feel like a deal will get done. I do kind of find it suspect that we got to wait on Nick Bosa. We know what Brian Burns is worth to us, and I'm more than sure that Brian Burns knows what he's worth in this league. I understand you want to be paid fairly and even maybe possibly get overpaid or whatever, but really we just got to go ahead and knock this thing down and go ahead and get it out the way. Now, I will say, if I'm wrong about all of this and he does not want to be here, then we need to get on the market and see what we can get. But we can't just take a desperate measure and go out there on the market trying to see what we can get and take a deal that's not good. Brian Burns has never shown me anything so far to make me feel that he's not going to be a Carolina Panther. Scott Fitterer and crew have never said anything to make me think that they weren't going to facilitate whatever they had to facilitate to get Brian Burns his money and for us to be fine. We got Sunday coming up. I feel, in my heart of hearts, Brian Burns will play new deal or no deal. There could be something else going on. I don't know. But all I want to say to you boys is,
hold on, he's got the last little bit here.
What up, family? This is D from Sanford. I just want to say, don't worry. I had got cut off, but do not worry. We will be all right. Let's get ready for Sunday afternoon. Let's get excited, baby. Keep pounding.
That's the call of the night for me right there.
Oh, I love it.
So far.
Hey, man, that calming presence to say, hey, everybody, take a deep breath, calm down. To be fair, White Chocolate did say it first, but I'm going to give the credit to D.
Yeah.
Because it's more fun to do.
I think the other thing is what I'm actually just made me think of is how much does waiting on Nick Bosa really help him? Because if Nick gets 30, you go, well, you're not Nick Bosa. Right. So, I mean, I wonder, it's almost the allure of what Nick Bosa is going to get almost helps you rather than what he actually gets. Because what if he signs for 28?
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, let's go to the next call. Football's
Tony
back,
Terrific,
baby. The calls are
Cody
back.
the Clever, the Bald and Beautiful CK, and the Bat Daddy Brilliant Boy Toy. It's game on this year. Gentlemen, I'm curious to get your predictions and check your football acuity and your forecasting prowess. So, gentlemen, I want to hear from each of you. What do you predict the Carolina Panthers will do for wins and losses this season? And what's going to be the biggest surprise and your biggest wish? So, I'll start off. I say the Carolina Panthers go 6-11 this season.
Damn.
And biggest surprise, Scott Fitterer gets fired. My biggest wish that David Tepper realizes he's an incompetent owner, jackass douchebag, and that nobody likes him, and then he sells the team and goes away. So, gentlemen, give me your forecast. Bye-bye.
Boy.
Yeah, so y'all ready to do this? Y'all ready?
Yeah. So what is it? It's prediction and then biggest wish.
Biggest surprise and then your wish. One wish for the season.
Biggest surprise, one wish, and prediction for the okay. Y'all go ahead.
We
I'll
gotta bring back our picks too, so we're gonna have to keep up with this. Do a better job.
Oh, we got to do that tonight then.
Yeah,
We
let's
gotta
do
pick
it all
tonight.
right now. We'll do
Oh,
it.
we do.
We'll
Okay.
do the
Okay,
season
yeah.
forecast.
I got mine down.
All right. So
Are we
let's-
going game by game? Or are we just giving a total?
No, just total. Just total.
And by the way, let me just get this out of the way. $1.99 from White Chocolate says I'm the one who'll be there week one, so I'm the one who should be worried. Eric says with $5, if Scott doesn't get a first for Burns or sign him, I hope he gets diarrhea.
Oh, yeah. I mean, food poisoning is the worst.
That's
So,
surprisingly a lot better than what other people might wish of him. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
All right, I'm
that's
ready
one
for
of
this,
those
man.
things too, where it's like, you know what? It's just an uncomfortable day. You're not wishing their kid to, something happen. It's like you can handle that. It's like, I hope you get.
and just about
food
of the
poisoning.
shits. Yeah, you'll be all right.
All right,
I
season
got mine
total. What you got, Greg?
You know what? I'm going totally on the fact that I'm on the Bryce Young train now, and I'm listening to what everybody says. We're going 10-7.
wins.
I need 3 more wins than I had last year with the.
You're
better
going
team.
10-7.
10-7.
And you've been talking all this shit, and you're going 10-7.
I'm on the Bryce Young train, man. Bryce Young does no wrong, and I was told he was better than anything ever before.
Well, no,
And
what,
we have a
do you
better team
really
this year.
believe it?
There's
Do you
no
really
reason we
believe it?
shouldn't have 10 wins. We had 7 last year.
Okay.
Should have
All
had
right.
9.
What else you got?
Yeah.
Biggest surprise is going to be Hayden Hurst will be a top 3 tight end in the league this year. I think that he is the shredder. That's my nickname for him. And I think that he's a fellow ginger, so I love that. Beautiful red beard. And I think that any rookie quarterback or any quarterback who has had success, like huge success in the league, has had a solid tight end. Think about it.
What's your wish,
Everyone's
then?
had maybe other than Josh Allen, had a solid tight end. I think Hayden Hurst is going to do it this year. And my biggest wish is that, I guess we win the division.
Okay. Division winner. So
All right.
playoffs. I mean, all right, CK, what do you got?
All right. So I was going to say 10-7 before Greg actually said 10.
Now you got to go 11-6.
No, I'm going to stick with 10-7. And my biggest surprise is going to be Brian Burns gets his deal done and he sets the franchise record for single season sacks in this season. And my biggest wish is that TMJ decides to actually show up and become a number 1 wide receiver for this team.
Okay. That is a big wish.
Okay.
All right. I'll go next. I think we get 8 wins. So I think the Panthers, what does that make us? 8 and 9?
8 and 9.
Yeah.
8 and 9. I think, what was the next one? Surprise?
Yeah, biggest surprise that you expect.
I think Jonathan Mingo is the most successful of the rookie receivers this year.
Okay.
So that gets, what is that? JSN,
Jordan Addison,
Zay Flowers. I think Mingo has the most productive year out of all the rookies. And my wish is to my wish would be to who do we got? We play the Cowboys. Beating the Cowboys would be a good wish. I want to sweep. I want to sweep the Falcons. That's my wish. Sweeping the Falcons is my wish.
All right.
I like that.
All right, man. Look at me having to be the voice of reason for once on this thing, huh? I am going to say we're going 9 and 8. So normally I'd be a little bit above.
Yeah,
we're all pretty close.
We're pretty close. I think 9 wins is probably about what we're looking at right now. I believe that J.C. Horn is going to prove himself to finally be that shutdown corner all season that we've all been believing him to be. And I'm going to do a little take on Tony Dunn's. I want to sweep New Orleans again for the second year in a row. I want us to be 4-0 against the Saints in 2 years.
That would be awesome. All right, good stuff. Let's go to the next call.
Yo, C3, calling in just to say that it's finally over. The off season, the downtime is over. And first things first, I want to give a shout out to all y'all for making the off season enjoyable and bearable for all of us Panthers fans. I don't know how you guys do it every week.
Thank you.
Nothing. Well, this off season has been different. Been quite a bit to talk about, but even when there isn't, you guys just make it entertaining and make the best of it and make it worth coming back to listen to week after week. And I appreciate y'all for that. But the main point of the call is just to say that it's over. I'm excited it's over. No matter what the views and opinions were throughout the off season, the ball don't lie. We're going to find out Sunday. And guess what? One player, if one player matters, we're fucked anyway. It don't matter. The only one player that matters is our new quarterback.
Ooh.
All right. Brian Burns shows up, doesn't show up, whatever. And that's the message old Shaq Thompson should be preaching, not he better be there. No. It don't matter.
Oh, man.
Sunday, we're playing. We're playing the game Sunday. We got the Dirty Birds, week 1. One player's there, one player's not there. We got a game to fucking play. We got a game to win. And guess what? We're going to fucking win it. And we're going to win it in style. And I believe that. So let's go. It's over. Week 1 is upon us. Keep pounding, boys.
Man, talk about that. Now that might be the call of the night.
I love it.
One, I want us to do this. Is this a great segue to, we made our season picks. Let's go ahead and bring back our weekly picks. I'm picking a win. I'm here. I want us to start big with a win on the road. While I know that the Falcons have the continuity of having their coaching staff there, I don't feel like they necessarily have an advantage at the quarterback position. So I'm going to say this is Bryce Young's the better quarterback on Sunday out of the two quarterbacks of Desmond Ridder and Bryce Young, and we pull out the victory. Now, I think this is that even if we don't pull out the victory, right now they have to beat us by more than 3. So this game, if this game comes down to a field goal, then
to win the spread,
you win money. Yeah, you win money. But I'm picking a win on the road against the Falcons. CK, who you got this week?
I got a win on the road. I think just as much as we're concerned about our new QB, I think the Desmond Ridder experiment is going to be a massive failure for the Falcons, and we're going to do we want to do scores all together? Or?
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I'm down. Let's do it.
I'm writing it all down. So yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. We need to make this a thing every Tuesday.
Are we doing the whole division right now?
Yeah, why not? I mean, dude,
Why
it's
not?
that.
We might as well.
Yo,
But yeah,
football is
whole
back, boys.
I'm gonna keep
Football
up with
is
this year.
back.
We're gonna
We
have a
need to be back
competition.
in the swing. It's
Yeah.
that time, man.
I mean, if we go 3 hours in the off season, we can only go 6 hours in the regular season.
Do we want to? How do we want to do this? Do we want to? Do we want to make our picks based on the spread?
That's what we need to do.
Every week, I'll keep track of. We'll keep track of who wins in all the NFC South games, and we'll keep a record of win loss, and then as far as points go, we can have a whole separate bracket for that.
Okay. So here we got is this. Let me just write this down real quick. So Tony, I said we were for the season. We said 9. I said 8 and 9.
Matt MFJ also put our numbers in.
Yes.
So
you said
you're 8 and 9. I'm
Atlanta
9
over
and 8.
Carolina.
Cody is 9 and 8.
CK is 10 and 7. So is Greg.
Oh, that's so fast.
And
Cody's 9 and 8.
Yep.
CK
And then you
10
and
7,
CK are 10 and 7.
All right. Now, let's do this. So now what we'll do is we'll go Tony.
So you have Atlanta over Carolina. What's the score, Tony?
I think Carolina. I'm picking Carolina to win.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Carolina to win, and I think this is a higher scoring game. I feel like it's going to be something to the effect of 31-27 Panthers.
Right.
Yeah. What I'll do is I'll do the win loss.
Panthers having to win by keeping the opponent to under 20 is done.
Yeah. I'll do the win loss as our like who wins the whole thing, and if there's a tie, I'll use the differential and score. So I'll keep track of that too.
Let's see, CK, what do you got? Carolina winning?
Yeah, I got Carolina winning.
All right, score.
I think Carolina wins 28-14.
Wow, the blowout. Like it. Cody?
I'm going to say Carolina wins 27-24.
7-24. And Greg?
I'm going to say Carolina wins, and I'm going to call it 17-14.
Can you tell I'm trying to be much more reasonable on my picks and predictions this year?
No, not really. Okay.
Yeah.
So then,
come
who
on.
do we got next? Who else in the division is playing this week?
So,
Saints are playing who?
There's only 2 more games now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Saints. I'll pull the Saints schedule.
All right, yeah, pull it up.
Saints are playing our opening.
You don't need scores for those games, right? The tiebreaker score just
No, we don't. No, we don't. We don't.
win loss for those.
Just predict the winner.
Okay.
It would be they play the Titans.
Who does?
I'm picking the Titans, dude. I'm picking the Titans to win.
Over New Orleans.
Yeah.
I'm picking New Orleans over the Titans.
Okay.
I'm picking the Titans over New Orleans. They've got DeAndre Hopkins. They've got some pieces added to that team in Tennessee. I think
Alvin Kamara.
No Alvin Kamara, and Vrabel is a way better coach than Dennis Allen, and it's not even in the same stratosphere.
The guy that does the play-by-play for the Titans came on Pirate Radio. They're big fans of him and his calls. And he came on. He said that Vrabel's a top 5 coach. And then
I mean, dude, they've been in the play. They've been in the. He's been in the playoffs more years than he hasn't. I mean, they've been in the playoffs almost every year. So yeah, Vrabel's he's a culture builder.
All right, Greg, you got the.
I got the Titans as well.
Wow, man, this is a Panthers podcast. I love.
Am I the only one that went?
I just don't believe in the Saints. I just don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't
me either.
believe in Derek Carr.
But I've been forecasting their demise for a long time, and I've been a little too quick to say their defense has gotten old. But let's see, schedule.
Part of me also wants the Panthers and the Saints to be 1-1 going into that Monday Night Football matchup too.
I'm taking the Vikings over the Vikings at home, over the Bucks. At 1:00, Kirk Cousins, undefeated.
Yeah, easy, Minnesota.
Okay, so Minnesota.
Anybody picking the Bucks?
No.
Okay.
Not with Baker Mayfield at the helm.
Hell
All right.
no.
All right.
I remember my
Picks are
question
in.
from earlier. Is it more important to win your home opener or your opening game?
I think week 1 sets a good tone.
Okay. Because I do believe that what you do in week 1 sets the tone for the season. I think that if Carolina would have beaten Denver that year after the Super Bowl,
Oh, I agree.
our
A
season would have been
completely
different.
different season.
Greg,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say home opener. Defend your dirt. When you, I mean, we
You mean
talk
to be at
about
home? Okay, so I'm sorry, you're saying home opener. Yes.
yeah, but
I agree.
home opener and the opening game, I would say home opener because we
agree.
talk about the Panthers wanting to have a nice home field atmosphere and presence.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do that unless you win in the bank. So I would. I want the Panthers. I want it to mean something more playing here in Charlotte.
All right, let's finish out some of these calls. We got a few more to go.
Go back to what you said too last week about the comparison.
What's up, C3? Okay, quick call, and I know I called, and this is going to be my third call tonight. But bam, Tony alluded to everything I've been saying, boys. This goes back to the Rams trade. When you already traded McCaffrey, and you got that offer from the Rams, you still didn't know which direction you were going to go in, which is the problem with our organization. Like at that time, it's like, dude, you can institutionally tank when you trade all your best players. That's what the Cardinals are doing. They don't actually have a decent enough squad to win games. They're just institutionally tanking because Kyler's out, and they literally have the worst roster in the league. That was my whole point. You could have naturally got Bryce Young and kept DJ Moore, but no, that's not what we did. I'm not saying I'm upset now because we got the quarterback I wanted, but this goes back to the whole Brian Burns thing, man. It's like, man, this team needs to just rebuild and never look back again. Just rebuild and build up the team. Since you didn't want to do it last November, this is what they have to do now. Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pounding, boys.
Keep pounding. I mean, listen, man, as a fan, I understand that, but the team, the coaches and the players are going to go out there to win every single time. And I think Federer did kind of try to tank by giving away McCaffrey to try and get some more value. But I hear you, man. I've been a long believer that tanking doesn't happen on the football field. It happens in the front office.
Yeah. All right, next call.
Hey, it's White Charlotte Espresso. I want to get my thoughts on this issue. I know it's been weighing on people's minds, and that's pretty much what we're all talking about. And the answer is yes. Dabo Swinney is an overrated head coach. Clemson sucks. Let's just get out the way. All right, it's done. All right, those are my thoughts. Peace.
Yeah, shut the
Call
hell.
the night. Give the applause.
This is JJ, and this shit make me mad. This just makes me so mad. I can't even lie. This just irritates the hell out of me with this
What did I do?
BS job Scott Fitter has done. All right. First of all, I want to go back to around July, the beginning of July, when Cody on the free for all said everyone share your unpopular opinion about the Panthers this season. And I said we should give the Bears a top 5 pick and listed so many reasons of like us not adapting to the team. These receivers is garbage. Corbett getting injured. Icky getting a sophomore slump. Fucking rookie quarterback, new head coach, all this bullshit. All these eggs in the mystery basket. And then I got shit on for that. And it's crazy how 3 weeks into the preseason, it's the same fucking shit we talking about. And then I come on the podcast and I hear y'all still capping for these wide receivers, bro. They are not talented. They're garbage, bro.
Oh my
Adam
God, Bryce
Thielen
defenders are having a
Tony,
totally different
he's not
narrative
a
right
wide
before the season
receiver.
starts than they did all preseason.
He averaged 40 yards a game last year, and the most games he's played in the season in the past 4 years.
Oh, I cannot
and
wait for this season.
statistically had his worst season. How the fuck do you have the less yards when you play 4 more games than the year before? Bro, how do you have less touchdowns? Oh, I know, because you declined. Bro, and he's our number one. He's our number one on this team. Bro, Ohio State has better wide receivers than the Panthers. And I'm dead serious on that. Bro,
God,
this
that's
team
so
lacks
messed up.
talent.
The
It
disrespect.
really does. Like, Brian Burns and J.C. Horn are the only top 10 at their position. Maybe you want to say Derek Brown is top, right at 10 at defensive tackle. But outside of that, bro, Icky and Bryce Young are the only real young potential stars on offense. And everything else is just a fucking toss-up of some average, some fucking mediocrity. It's like, everyone's like, but we won
I
7
knew
games
Bryce Young
last
fans
year.
were going to do this.
Maybe.
I knew they were right for week
Maybe.
one. I knew they were going to do it.
2-17 we started as, and we just overachieved in the last 8 games by winning 5 of them. Maybe it's just the reverse of what we were in 2018 and 19 when we started hot and cooled off in the end.
JJ
But like
coming in hot.
overachieving in the end of last year just never came across the people's eyes, I guess. And it's just like, yeah, we got a quarterback, but we declined in so many other ways.
JJ saying that the team's full of a bunch of
Where do we decline in other ways, JJ? I want to know because everybody this whole podcast and this whole offseason
bums
has
out
been
there.
saying we have not declined. We have a better overall wide receiving core than last year. We have a better
JJ
defensive
hasn't
backfield than
been
last
saying
year.
that.
We have a
JJ
better
hates
linebacker
these
core than
receivers.
last year. No, I don't want to hear it, man. Everybody up until now, and I knew Bryce Young fans and people that had Bryce Young all over their shit were going to say this right before the season starts. Well, don't forget, our team sucks. But up till this point, that wasn't the case.
To be fair,
it's just hilarious. No, okay.
Greg, to be fair, JJ and Anthony have been talking that kind of shit about our wide receivers for a while now, for like a long time. Like they've been the two biggest antagonists.
Is our wide receiver core better than last year?
I would say yes.
I think so.
Is our wide receiver core better than the wide receiver core that Bryce Young had in Alabama?
I think there's. Ooh.
Well, I don't know. I don't even really know who.
That's all I want to know. If the answer to both those is yes, then I don't care.
But there were a bunch of college players anyway, and we have some NFL veterans.
I think our wide receiver group is better.
Greg, if you played NFL ball, then you're more tenured in playing pro ball than college football players that might never make the
Alabama
NFL.
had a better wide receiving core than the Panthers. That would be
maybe. I mean,
up.
if they had like another Julio Jones or a Calvin Ridley, then maybe it'd be different. But they didn't. They had a bad receiving core for Alabama football team.
For their standards.
He has a better receiving core this year.
Which is fine. I disagree with JJ about the wide receiver group. But I do think there might be something to the story about us not being as talented as we think we are, across the board, right? As a whole team. We'll have to see. I don't know. I think that the team has looked to incrementally improved at most position groups and then has dramatically improved at quarterback.
Hey, Tony, let me we'll finish the calls, but let me bring up this last slide, and then we can be done with the slideshow for tonight. So basically the Panthers, because of this Brian Burns situation, they have worked out a bunch of other players at outside linebacker. This includes Ben Benogu, DiCaprio Boodle, Anthony Cook, Michael Dugby, Michael Jones, Ryan Cullum, Desmond Patton, Makai Polk, Quincy Roche, Lasita Smith, and Badera Tarot. Basically, a bunch of who the fuck
I've
is
never
that
heard of
guy?
any of these
Yeah,
guys.
I mean, the only name I know is Ben Benogu. I was a fan of him coming out of TCU. But then, dude, you can't make this up. The first comment under the tweet is DiCaprio Boodle. He says, "You spelled my name wrong every time, sir. It's DiCaprio Boodle." And Aaron Wilson wrote DiCaprio. And I just thought that was hilarious.
I think he's got to do it on purpose. DiCaprio Booty is what he should call him. The crappy booty. That's what I would call him. All right, let's go to the next call.
Hey, C3, is JJ calling back? I'm going to continue with what I was talking about with these weapons. And I wanted to say how we we downgraded. We downgraded from last year. I don't know how people keep rolling over this. At the beginning of last year, we went from DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, and Terrence Marshall at receivers with Laviska Shenault. And we also had McCaffrey. And now we went to Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, and fucking Miles Sanders. You can't convince me that adding Hayden Hurst, whose career high is like 500 some yards and like what, 6 touchdowns one year? Like, and those are career highs from different fucking years. All right. His Hayden Hurst and like a rookie Jonathan Mingo aren't making up from the differences of DJ Moore and Christian fucking McCaffrey.
We actually ran for more yards after we got rid of Christian McCaffrey last year and went on a winning streak after Christian McCaffrey was gone. I love the guy, but we did play better after he was gone. So that's right there kills that argument. And I don't have the stats with me right now. I had to look at them. I want to see what DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, and TMJ got compared to Adam Thielen and DJ Chark, just those two, and I'm willing to bet it's pretty close.
I tell you one thing.
I'm willing to bet it's pretty close.
I'm just so not willing.
Just saying.
Touchdowns alone.
I'm just so not willing to shed tears over a running back, dude. I'm just not. I don't care.
I think Miles Sanders is going to be good.
We play better without him.
Bro, to that point, even DJ Moore, I'm not denying the talent of these players, but I think wide receivers and running backs are far more replaceable than high-level defensive players at outside linebacker or edge or corner.
Yes, there's an argument to be made that a good quarterback will make a bad wide receiver look good.
Better.
You know what I mean? And so, I mean, we saw that with, potentially you look at Ted Ginn with Cam Newton. I mean, there's probably a history. I mean, Tom Brady. I mean, how many times he took Brandon LaFell and made him look like he was a superstar, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this isn't. I don't think it's rocket science in that respect, but I also don't think that looking at our wide receiver core that I feel like I don't
think it's a big downgrade. I think if anything, you could argue it's lateral.
Yeah, I think that would be more along the lines of a reasonable response to what our wide receiver core is. I think most people are just a little bit panicked right now, just based on the fact that DJ Chark has been hurt.
And he's
TMJ's already been hurt. We saw Adam Thielen get hurt on that preseason play, even though he came back in. I mean, there's a history of these guys getting hurt, and there's, I think, a fear involved with that with these guys, and since they haven't consistently been able to be out on the field in the past 2 years, I think there's going to be some fear involved with these.
Thielen's going to surprise some people. I think Thielen's going to put up good numbers this year.
I think Thielen might put up great numbers this year.
I think he's just going to go out there and just win on possession after possession.
Can you tell me? I mean, and Cody, you might be able to answer this. This is my belief.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a cerebral quarterback like Bryce Young, route running is so much more important than all the other athletic pieces of this, right? Because he knows that Adam Thielen's going to be making that break right when he makes that break.
Yes.
That's going to allow for that connection to be a lot more lucrative than somebody who's just able to burn it down the field, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying that's not valuable, but I do believe that Adam Thielen, what he brings to the table is the most precise route running of anybody on this squad right now.
Yes,
he's been the most productive in the preseason.
Yeah, that veteran. It's not a surprise that his first touchdown was to Adam Thielen on a play where Bryce was throwing the ball before Adam even got out of his break. And, for a quarterback that doesn't have the biggest arm, doesn't have the greatest mobility, doesn't have the greatest size, for Bryce, timing and anticipation is everything. The more that he's able to get on rhythm with his receivers and knowing when and how they run their routes, dude, that's what made Tom Brady so good for so long. He was just on time and on rhythm with the members of his receiving core. And
this is
for Bryce, that's going to be very important. And Adam Thielen is by far his biggest asset in that regard.
Michael Platt says this. He says, "I'm a Bears fan, so I've seen Thielen very closely. He trash."
Oh, that sounds like
I think what is interesting is that Thielen has a lot of enemies out there. I'm surprised by this. Like I'm up. I didn't get it. I don't.
You've been doing the NFC North dirty for years.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember that year when he first came on the scene, like, with a nobody
Stephon
quarterback in
Diggs.
Case Keenum.
Yeah.
He was putting up numbers that were breaking records for like consecutive or 100-yard games.
Oh,
and
that's right. That's right.
things
Yeah.
Like the dude's not trash. You can't say he's trash. You can maybe make an argument that he's getting older, but there's nobody in their right mind that's going to look at what Adam Thielen has done in the NFL and say they're trash. Anybody other than somebody who's a rival of a team he played for the longest time.
And I want to add too with the caller and the point about Christian McCaffrey. We got rid of him early, and look at we got Miles Sanders in return. Guess what? Miles Sanders had a better year last year than Christian McCaffrey.
Wow.
He had more yards on 15 more rushes. So he had 15 more rushes and 200
he was
more
behind
yards.
the best offensive line in the league.
Well, it doesn't matter though. He still had a better season than Christian McCaffrey. So like when you say that we've downgraded, like the stats don't show that. The stats show that Christian McCaffrey played for a great team.
Let's put up Alex. Let's put up Alex Delgado's comment right here. He says here, he said, Greg is right. DJ and Robbie had 83 catches, 1,170 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Thielen Shark had 100 catches, 1,285 yards, and 9 touchdowns.
And I didn't even look those up.
And by the way, Michael Platt, Thielen did not get replaced by a rookie ride. I'm assuming you're talking about Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson replaced Stephon Diggs. That was not a replacement of Adam Thielen.
I don't know if they got another guy in there. Oh no, they went and drafted a guy. I think that's what he's talking about. Is that
he's not
Jordan
Jordan
Addison?
Yeah, I think he's talking about Jordan Addison.
Jordan Addison's going to be.
So he says
really
he got
good too,
Michael Platt said he got replaced by a rookie wide receiver. Y'all claiming he's a number one option. Come on. No, I don't know if he is a number. I wouldn't say I call him I don't think any means that we're advocating that he's a true number one.
Well,
across
most
the
people,
league.
Tony, most people in the media are saying that Bryce is number one.
Well, that's because that's de facto. We have a bunch of number twos, Michael Platt. That's what we would say is we have we have number 2 wide receivers. I don't think anybody expects Adam Thielen to come in and be a true number 1, as in what we would classify as a Cooper Kupp to a Jamar Chase to a Tyreek Hill type number 1. I would argue, though, he's our number 1 at this point because he's the most experienced, seasoned receiver, the most available right now. I think DJ Shark is actually our number 1 wideout if he's healthy. That's how it was in training camp. That was the number. Yeah. We look at Adam Thielen being a possession receiver for us. But that might be the type of receiver that just puts up a lot of big numbers in this type of offense with a Bryce Young.
Right.
Is not a lot of after the catch yards or anything like that. It's just like, hey, he's going to run 8 yards and he's going to be at the sticks right on time, and you're going to get a first down. So I think that, but the idea is that he was aging, and the Minnesota Vikings have to pay Justin Jefferson. So It was time for him to move on. But he did put some stuff out there. Look at this. Michael Platt, the Bears fan coming in. He's saying this. I'll say this, y'all. Thank you, by the way, for the super chat for $1.99 love bomb here. He says, I'll say this. Y'all are putting a lot on a rookie QB.
I agree.
And I don't know how we could have done better, though.
I have a problem with
he may not have, been able to.
I have a problem with this. What is a lot? What is a lot? Like, again, we know that we were picking in the top 10. So even though we almost won the division, we weren't one of the best teams. We traded up. We've all felt like we have a pretty decent offensive line based on what we were able to do last year. You go out and get a bunch of wide receivers that do have the ability to take the top off, like a DJ Chark. You already have Terrace Marshall Jr. I know that name means nothing to Michael Platt.
Was important.
Yeah, Jonathan
Imagine
Mingo.
If you wouldn't have gotten Mingo, what this offense.
And that's a name that we're not saying enough. He might be the number 1 wide receiver.
You're right.
Before all is said and done.
You're right.
Him being.
I don't know. I think there's a lot on any rookie, but I don't think that the Panthers. It's not like what they did with Cam. which was like, good luck, Cam. Here's Ted Ginn Jr.
Right.
I think this is arguable. I think that whether or not we think these players are good or not, I'm not sure. But like, what would have been the acquisitions that they would have had to have done to make it easier on him? Maybe he's putting that, like, losing DJ Moore. I mean, look, we love DJ Moore. He's a good player. He's going to be the type of player that Justin Fields needs, right? But I had a Bears fan come up. You guys are walking in the desert of wide receivers, right? You guys are walking in the desert of wide receivers. So I had a Bears fan come up to me and say, thanks for the great wide receiver. And he goes, man, first catch, and took it to the house. And I was like, man, if you would have just seen, like, that's all DJ does is catch them wide receiver screens and go hard after it. Like, it wasn't like him and Fields connected down the field. He's coming back for more. Michael Platt says we should have traded Burns instead of Moore. I disagree. I think it's harder to replace Brian Burns than it is DJ Moore.
Mike, I we appreciate your patronage, but you're 0 for 2 right now.
I can't say it's crazy.
I can. Brian Burns is so much more valuable to this team than DJ Moore. Hey, say what you want about the quarterback position. DJ Moore never had over 4-5 touchdowns.
Yeah, never had.
Let's see what Brian Burns' ranking as linebacker as opposed to DJ Moore's ranking as quarterback and their careers have been. That's where
even if you rank them amongst each other, it doesn't make DJ Moore more important to the overall offense than
DJ
Brian
Moore's
Burns
position is dependent on having a good quarterback. Brian Burns is not.
All right, so Justin Long said, what are the expectations?
That's why it's more important.
We did this earlier, but to give you what we think is Tony, myself, I said Panthers are 8-9. Cody went 9-8. CK and Greg believe the Panthers could get as high as 10-7. Michael Platt, again, thank you for
don't forget Justin Long too. He says,
I just addressed this. So thank you, Justin, for that $1.99. And Michael Platt again coming in with another $1.99. He said I could have gotten DeAndre Hopkins. Now this is a player.
I agree with that one. I do agree with that one.
But if we get DeAndre Hopkins, there's no way we take
$1.99 in us. He's $1.99 in us. Man, I love this. Look at this. Look at this. The Bears fan putting his money where his mouth is. He said, fast forward, the Burns is holding out. Contractually, you know what? Here's the thing, though, is we had already paid DJ. We paid DJ the money. We gave DJ the money.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, where do you sink your sunk costs? And I got to be honest, I just feel like it was a good deal for everybody. The Bears get the best receiver they've had in a long time. The Panthers get the quarterback they want. We wanted to give away. Our defense, it's just so much easier to replace a wide receiver, regardless, unless. I mean, maybe it's like, Jamar Chase. But look, DJ is not Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase or Stephon Diggs. Like, it's just that putting him in that would be as much as saying
it's like
that
putting Brian Burns and
above Nick Bosa. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I just think that it's harder to find a player of Brian Burns' caliber than it is of DJ Moore's caliber.
I can agree with that. And I can agree that a good quarterback can make a receiver better. Whereas a linebacker just has to be good by themselves. They just have to be a good player.
Outside linebacker. So, really good stuff there. Oh, we got I think we have 2 calls left. Did we do JJ wanted to get his last bid in.
What's up, C3? I'm sorry I cut out that last time. But that's obviously a downgrade in the receiving core. We don't know what we have out of the offensive line declining. The D-line is going under new construction. We just got thinner at linebackers. We already question starters on defense. We don't have the depth. It's really going to be a question mark going into this season, but I think what's truly going to make 20C3 special is that we have Bryce Young, the truth, and the GOAT, the best quarterback in the division. That's how I wanted to cap off my call. I hope you played all these. If you didn't, damn, that sucks, but I appreciate it.
We got you, JJ. You paid for it anyway. He put some money in the pot to say play my extra calls. Michael Platt coming back with another $1.99. Look at this. Look at the generosity here, man. We appreciate that. So you don't trade a number 1 receiver when you draft a QB. I would ask
I
you
get
this.
it. I get it.
I mean, yeah, is DJ
We didn't
Moore
want
a
to.
true number one,
Yeah.
though?
Yeah, but here's the thing: we didn't
I don't
want
think
that.
he is. I don't think he's a true number one.
DJ Moore is like Brian Burns. He is on the fringe of being a top guy at his position, but he's just not there yet. Maybe it's the quarterback's been throwing to him, or
He's
whatever.
not
I'm
a
not saying he
top
can't
10
get there,
receiver.
but he's never been a top 5 receiver, just like Brian Burns.
I don't
has
even
never
think
been
he's
a top
top
5
10.
linebacker.
I mean, no, Greg has a point to be made when you look at the stats of Brian Burns and DJ Moore and you compare them against their contemporaries, the numbers don't match up. Like DJ Moore doesn't have the touchdowns. Brian Burns doesn't have quite the number of sacks. He has a good number of sacks. DJ Moore has a nice set of receiving yards year after year.
I think
But
they could
at
both
the
get
end
there.
of the day, it's not that there are so many people that would not put
DJ's
them
got
in their top
drops. People
5.
talk about his route running. What is he elite at? Yards
Well,
after
I mean,
the catch.
He's very elusive. Yes, Yak.
Yeah,
he's
he's
very
tough.
elusive.
We're gonna
He can catch the
find
ball
out.
and take a hit. Keep going.
We're gonna find out exactly what DJ Moore means as a number one receiver up in Chicago, because that's essentially what Chicago said that they thought of him.
Yeah, look at this. Man, these guys are so great. It's midnight.
Justin, appreciate you, bro.
Justin Long says this: don't let the Bears fans show more love than us. Come on, C3 Nation. By the way, Clemson losing to Duke is exactly what the vacation Bible school coach deserved.
Oh my God,
that's
dude.
awesome. What a good line. Thank you,
That's
Justin.
funny.
Those are wait, no, we got the one last call. And this is
I didn't hear
it.
G Baby's call either.
Let me see. I haven't heard. Did he call?
Hey, what's up, C3? This is Al.
I didn't have it.
Another one.
I agree with Greg, man. I don't know what Burns is smoking on. Like, there's no way that he's played himself in position to be the highest played pass rusher, defensive end / outside linebacker. There's no way he's played himself in that position. He's played himself in 22, 25. He's in that range. I'll give him 25. I can give him 25. But if he's talking about $30 million, I don't know what he's smoking, bro. There's no way he earned $30 million a year to be a starting pass rusher in this league. He's not stout. Like, I was looking at, I don't know, I was just going through stuff and I'm looking at pictures and I see Nick Bosa. Motherfucker's rocked up, bro. Motherfucker's like 270, 280 pounds of pure fucking muscle. He's stout. He plays the run. He gets the passer. Burns isn't doing that. You look at a picture of Burns, he's like probably 250. He's all skinny and shit. I mean, he's muscular. He's quick, but he's just no way, bro. Not $30 million. He's not worth that. But all right, guys, have a good night. I don't know if I'm too late, but all right, have a good night, guys. Later.
Appreciate you, Al.
I think that's a great point
I'm
too
not
that
alone.
we've made in the past. I took a lot of heat from Panther fans for saying that. I think Brian Burns is a very good player. I don't think he's I don't think he's at the top 5 of his position.
I think he's the best defensive player on our team.
Yes.
But he's not a top 5 player
Right.
at his position. In the NFL. Yes.
The one thing let's go to Michael Platt, who brings in another $4.99. He brings in $4.99. He said, though, look at the quarterbacks. Now, boy, have we had this conversation on this podcast for years about who these quarterbacks are and how good. And that has been the complete argument about DJ Moore, is put him on the Chiefs, put him on these other teams, and he is going to be impressive. But I do want to point this out, though. He had 80% of the targets for the Carolina Panthers last year. Like, his volume was not the problem. Is that what the problem was just DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey, and that's it. Right? Like, I mean, there was nothing else to it. I do think there is something to that. Is like the question I think we're asking here is, have we seen the best of either of these players? Have we seen the best of DJ Moore? Would DJ Moore be much better if he was on a better team? I think if anything is that maybe we'd see his touchdown numbers be improved. But it's not like for a lack of utility, though.
No, I mean, again, we're having a completely different conversation if we have a Justin Herbert or a Josh Allen that's getting him the ball routinely. But also, they were able to clamp down on DJ in those red zone scenarios, and we wanted to run the ball in those scenarios more than pass it. So there's also that. Hey, look, man, that C3 Nation call to arms, it didn't fall on deaf ears, man. Anthony with the $5 says, we have never seen DJ Moore with a quarterback. We have seen Burns with Reddick on the other side. Stop disrespecting DJ JJJ.
Is he a top 10 receiver? We'll have to peel that one off for the Friday free for all.
Yeah.
Is DJ Moore top 10 receiver? And not yet. And man, to be honest, Panther fans, sorry, Michael Platt, as someone who really wanted to draft Justin Fields here, is a lot of Panther fans don't think he still has a quarterback.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: is Michael was talking about. He said, you know, you're putting a lot on a rookie quarterback, and earlier he said that. And whereas I believe that that's true, I also think that that's coming from somebody who is on a team where they've had to put a lot on their quarterback. And until last year, even with last year included, he wasn't really living up to that potential yet. Last year, there was some things that went his way, and his athleticism showed. It got me into the playoffs of my fantasy league, right?
Oh, yeah,
on the back of Justin
like
Fields. But from a quarterback perspective, I don't think we've seen Justin Fields actually put it together yet. I'm hoping that he does, because I don't think it's fair to DJ Moore to have to go from one quarterback that's not good to another quarterback that's not good. And I really don't want that. Like, I know a lot of people want us to feel like we won that trade. I don't think that. I think it's okay that everybody wins. And I know that there are going to be games where we play the Bears this year. And so we don't want them to win in those cases. But I want Justin Fields to come out here and do well, so that DJ Moore actually has somebody to throw him the ball. Because I right now we have no evidence that he's a top 10 wide receiver at this point in time.
People bringing the heat in the comments late. The James Bunn says, I find it funny that DJ Moore has more receiving yards than any Bear in history. Chad Howe, I love this one. He said, I personally think DJ is really good and could be better, but I think he's collateral damage for us to get a top QB. Again, people talking about rebuilding, but don't want to make the sacrifices to do so. I feel like you can't really say it better than that. It's just like, you got to give him a player. We felt like we were able to navigate losing DJ more than we were able to navigate Brian Burns. They said one of the two, and we gave him number two.
Yep.
Well, Tony, I just want to say real quick before you get into that, this is where my disconnect, and this goes into that DJ Moore talk about how DJ Moore hadn't had a quarterback to throw to him and how he may be a better receiver based on who's throwing to him. This is my disconnect with people with Bryce Young and the wide receiver thing. Like, people who say the wide receivers you have are garbage. Well, if we have garbage wide receivers, then how can you possibly predict that Bryce Young's going to have a good season? Because in order for him to have a good season, he's going to have at least one wide receiver that has a good year.
I think it's this. I think it's easier for, and I don't think so. I know. So it's easier for a great quarterback to make good wide receivers look better. And I think it's easy for a bad quarterback to make good wide receivers look worse.
Okay.
So is that like, and I think that's the idea, is even if you think we went down with our quality of receivers from DJ Moore, I think the idea is Bryce Young can make Adam Thielen, DJ Shark, and them look better than had we not. So I think I'm not really worried about that. Let's go on, guys. We're hitting hour 3. We haven't even hit the news, and we got to do ice up picks. So let's rock through the news. Cody, is that this is our quick hits around the NFL from the Panther perspective.
Yep, let's do it.
It seems every week we open up with a tragic story.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing, man. Just terrible news, man, especially someone that's already been through a lot, like Alex Smith.
Yeah, almost lost a leg a few years ago.
Yeah, especially, man. Shout out to Alex Smith. His daughter, Sloan, was diagnosed with a brain tumor in 2022, and the family is reportedly living scan to scan. Smith told the New York Times she continues to undergo tests and scans during her recovery, Smith admits that he is feeling helpless throughout the process. It's different when it's your little girl and you're helpless with how terrifying that is. The family has been through hell and back. Praying for all of them, man. Stuff like this puts it into perspective, man.
Yeah, I mean, and we've seen this with Greg Olson's kids with the heart problems, and they continue to have to live with that from day to day. That it's not there while they've been blessed in recovery, that they know that there's always the looming opportunity for setbacks. So Alex Smith, and I think he's right. I mean, look, and it's a lot easier to go through it than to watch your kids go through it. You could argue, hey, if I die because of this infection, I left them a life that they can thrive in. It's going to be hard for Alex Smith to live without his child, in a sense. So we're hoping that every scan shows continued improvement. And I guess if this is a cancer, brain tumor sounds cancerous, is we hope that this stays in remission and that we celebrate the story going forward. What's next?
Yeah, man. Prayers out to Sloan.
Oh, how about this? Oh, are we all Colorado fucking?
Hell yeah, I am.
Buffalo fans,
especially now, bro.
Boom, boom.
Let's go, Buffaloes.
Especially this week.
Yeah, no, totally this week. That's why. So Tom Brady texted Shador Sanders after the TCU game, "Don't be satisfied." I tell you this is all the people that have been shitting on Colorado or not shitting is but they're like, oh, wait until they play a team, because TCU was not the team that they were last year. They only had 3 returning players or some shit like that on their defense or something. So, but the idea is everybody wrote off Deion as just as a celebrity, like as just show circumstance. Right. They went out there and put up 500. He put through 500 yards of offense. They fucking lit it up. But to me, the craziest part about this is people are like, well, wait until they play Nebraska. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, what is intimidating about Nebraska who scored 10 points?
And by the way, I've even seen some more rational Nebraska fans be like, dude, if Deion Sanders can take a Colorado team that literally won 1 game last year,
they brought in,
turned them around in the course of an offseason, you hired the wrong fucking coach.
Deion in Nebraska would have been crazy. All right.
Yeah.
Next is, speaking of, man, when we were talking about prize picks on the Friday free-for-all, the lock prize pick we thought was Travis Kelce touchdown, game 1. Travis Kelce hyperextended his knee at practice today, and his status for the Thursday night opener versus the Lions is uncertain. It looks like there is no major damage, but there is inflammation from what I read. Imagine, you know what is at the end of the day is fucking Mahomes is going to win anyway. This is a big break for the Lions, though. This is a giant break for the Lions if Kelce's out, because he is their number one receiver. All right. Go ahead, Greg.
Is this the game that we have a breakout receiver for Kansas City?
He's
not there. Hill's not there.
It is.
There's got to be a guy who steps
Justin
up.
Ross.
Yes, man. Justin Ross, dude.
All right.
People forget how important he was to that Clemson national championship.
We don't have a ton of news. We only have 1 or 2 more, I think, left. Oh, the shit going on in Las Vegas.
Oh, it's wild, dude.
What's the guy's name again? Chandler Jones. Chandler Jones, I'll pull it up. Have you seen the Instagram shit he's put up?
Yeah, I mean, he's basically talking a lot of shit on
he's not just talking. I mean, but so he showed up to the facility. And he has been locked out. They didn't let him in the facility. I don't know what the hell's going on, but this is what somebody put up about what's going on with Josh McDaniels, and the fact that I thought that he would have been a better fit than Matt. We dodged a bullet with this. Josh McDaniels continues to have drama with star players. Derek Carr, number 1, lack of freedom at the line of scrimmage, then benched him. Darren Waller, trade rumors, leaking his wedding. Something about that. What do you guys remember that? I forget.
Yeah. Basically, he had said when his wedding was going to be by accident. At least reportedly so.
And being called out by Waller's wife, Devontae Adams, the lack of input on QB, not seeing eye to eye with the front office. Josh Jacobs doing a save face negotiation before the deadline, was forced to play on the tag. And now Chandler Jones, the pass rusher he gave $51 million contract to last year, locked out of the facility and accused the head coach and I guess this would be the GM, of talking to his former baby mama behind his back. When will this nightmare end is the question. Is Chandler Jones, this crap is bizarre. Let me see if I can find him real quick.
It's almost what you expect out of Las Vegas. You know what I mean? Like just absolute lunacy.
This is here. I'm gonna pull him up. Go ahead. It's okay.
The Devontae at what point do these guys start selling off assets? Like they've got to start setting their sights on the QB of the future, and the idea of having this type of roster is going to be one that doesn't necessarily give them the best chance to go after that, let's say, number 1 overall draft pick this year. Again, I'm not saying that they should tank, but they certainly aren't doing their players any favors if they are planning on actually competing this year.
Chandler Jones on Instagram says, fuck it, I don't want to play for the Raiders. If that's my head coach or GM, I want Patrick Graham, who is their defensive coordinator, to be the head coach. Then he goes on to say they won't let me in the building. How is that even possible? Yeah, that's so weird. And he said, and they had direct contact to my
baby mama.
Yeah, and we haven't been together for 5 years. Some lady reporting to her about how I was at work when I don't even talk to her about work or any person. Like, how y'all know my baby mama provoked. And I think then this one is, I don't even know what this is.
This is a screenshot of his message back to, and I think this is the McDaniel, the bottom one. So the top one is a screenshot of the actual that he's sending this screenshot to McDaniel, and this is what he said underneath it.
I sent this to your roomie. It's a shame that I don't even get it. Anyway, this is bizarre crap going on. He's been a fucking problem though. He was terrible in Denver. When it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, must be a duck. Yeah, he sucks. All right, do we got any? Was there anything else? Back to the Steve Wilkes shit. Did you see this was a crazy story right here? He's testifying. Steve Wilkes testified that a team executive gave him a burner phone to communicate with former GM Steve Keim under orders from Keim and team owner Bidwell during his suspension.
Yeah, because Keim was negotiating a contract with David Johnson at the time. So yeah, and remember, Keim,
poor Steve Wilkes.
Keim got a DUI. That's why Keim wasn't in the build, dude. A lot of people are saying that Caleb Williams, who's projected to be the number 1 pick in the next draft class, everybody's saying do not go.
Right, wow, that's crazy. All right, that is the news. That is the C3 Panthers podcast. We got one last component, and that is the Ice Up picks. Cody, you ready to get into it?
Yes, sir.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
It's the longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast. Literally, we are over 3 hours right now, and this is where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. It's our homage to Steve Smith. Everybody is fair game. Does anybody got anything they want to rock with?
I do, but go ahead, Greg.
Well, I was going to say, I normally don't have one. I'll go first this week. And I feel like I'm going to go first because I think that, Tony, you may have done this before, but I'm not sure. So NIL deals for college players, I'm all for it, to be honest with you. I am all for, if you're making money off my name, you should get paid for it. But have y'all heard of General Booty?
Yeah.
Did
I've
you
heard
have
his name.
I said pick up that?
No, them.
Okay. Well, General Booty, I don't even know what team he plays for. He's a third string quarterback. Just got an NIL deal for like over $100,000
For
underwear
what?
and socks because his name is General Booty.
Yeah, right
He's
on.
not even going to play.
What a great name.
Yeah, it is a great name.
You know, they're
What a
actually trying to pass a law in Congress, though, that they can't do NIL deals for gambling, booze, or like, what if you would do, what if you could do, he should do like General Booty Pornhub.
I mean,
that would
it's a
be
great name. Yeah.
or Blue Chew. General Booty suggests Blue Chew.
Yeah.
Don't let a booty ever go by.
Dude, there's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah.
Look, that is a great name, and I would capitalize on it too. And I actually don't even know who I'm icing up on this pick because, like, I like the NIL deals, but this seems really strange that because your name is this and you're not even not even second string, a third string quarterback.
Yeah,
you're gonna get paid.
You want to hear a better one? And
Yeah.
this has NIL written all over it. So I still work for Draft Tech, and there is a cornerback from Alabama named Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Oh, yeah. So he could just be like Kool-Aid.
Yeah, dude, that's
new
the
Kool-Aid man.
that's
Yeah.
that's it right there, man.
All right.
shout out to
Ice up
Kool-Aid.
to that. Here's my ice up pick. My ice up pick goes to people who get caught cheating and then they play the crybaby mode.
She's caught. You're caught.
Try to get out of her own car.
Hey, you're getting posted.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie though, man. That's not the way to handle it. Posting this
I'll
shit.
never trust bitches again. I swear to God. Go ahead. She's sick. Hey, I'm stuck in this car though. She gotta take me home, but damn, I would never trust bitches again. On Jesus Christ.
All right, that's my ice up pick for you crying. You crying. You know what?
right.
It's you got caught. Don't cry about it. Just own up about it and be like, I sucked his dick.
Tony, so mine is in a similar vein. To all the ladies out there, be careful with your phone, especially if you're going to have the audacity to label someone as daddy in your phone.
Myra! 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 Myra, the screen's not frozen. The chains are still moving, stupid. Myra, you're a slut just like your mother.
So,
oh my God, what was she doing? Did she just say like, "Hey Google"? It was just saying, "Daddy, daddy."
I guess she sent it to the wrong daddy, if you know what I'm saying. Hey, make sure you're not sending your father videos of your ass shaking
He
all up
said
in
you're a
his face.
slut, just like your
He said you're a slut, just like your mother.
I was wondering, can we watch that video again? I mean,
Oh,
just for
gosh.
research purposes.
Yeah, she had a nice booty.
Let's do it.
General booty, in fact.
General, yes. Do y'all have any more?
Kyra.
Myra! Myra! Myra, the screen's not frozen. The chains are still moving, stupid. Myra! Myra, you're a slut just like your mother.
So
Dude.
funny. Good one. Good one. CK, you got an ice up for us this week?
I mean, I gotta ice up TCU as a whole, man. Like, it's
Oh, yeah, getting smoked.
21-point favorites, and they lost to a first-time coach in that school, and they let this kid Shadur Sanders. This kid is
He might be a
something
top
else.
10 pick.
What about the other guy that played defense and offense?
Travis
Played 100
Hunter?
Oh, dude,
15
that dude.
snaps, big ass interception in the end zone.
Like, if you're looking at a coach, like, this is it, again, I have my quarrels with the personality of Deion Sanders. But yeah, there's no doubt this dude has the ability to coach his ass off. Like they were
his
putting
pregame speech was fucking insane.
Right.
Dude, he's the man. I fucking love him.
And Shadur, here's the thing: is this kid came in here first time playing as a quarterback for this team, and he set single game yardage records. Like for real. Like, and the dude was like, if you watch it, he didn't make a mistake. Like he might have missed the receiver, but he he made the right reads every step of the way.
He had 500 and something yards, dude.
Yeah, going up against a team that was number 2. I shouldn't say number 2 in the nation last year, but they were in the national championship against Georgia last year, and they made this team look basic.
And Colorado hasn't been good in 30 years since they got in trouble for the scholarship. They got like one of those black, like you know how the death blow, kind of like what Baylor did.
Yeah.
You know, where you got in trouble for cheating or something like that, and they took away all their scholarships. And it's also another place where it's very difficult to recruit. Like they run into some of the challenges that I think Nebraska is going to run into, is like it's just in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Right.
Like you in Boulder, you like the nearest airport's like an hour and a half away. So like you fly in and then you got to drive an hour and a half to get to the fucking college. People don't like it. They needed a guy like Deion to bring people to that place, and it worked. He had something like 81 transfers or some shit. Like they're a completely different. Like he was like he just brought in, he just assembled a team overnight. And was like, fuck it, we're gonna win.
And if they're a powerhouse during his tenure, and there's been that's got to be the end of Dabo Swinney. Like it's got to be
Deion for Clemson's next coach.
Sign me up, bro.
Okay.
I mean, that's a whole nother combo.
Ice up TCU.
So I got one more, unless y'all want to go.
Cool. No, go.
I don't want to show the video, one, because of demonetization stuff, and I don't want to get the news clip. But I'll just kind of explain it. I don't know if y'all heard about this, but there was a guy that was at a hot dog stand. I don't know if it's a few days ago. This is June 27th, so yeah, about a month ago. That gets in an argument with an old lady. She's probably in her 50s, 60s, probably I would say in there, and punches her in the face twice.
Oh.
And her son is there and shoots him in the back and kills him.
Oh.
And they were his mother and his son was held for murder. The situation, but cell phone video came out that showed the whole situation, and they've finally been released. On basically what was not murder, because I'm going to tell you right now, if you punch my mom in the face, I'm shooting you too.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't care if I'm standing behind you. I'm shooting
so
you.
the son
shot
to it, dude for punching his mom in the face.
Yeah, I want to put the video up here. I'll show y'all later if you want to. You can look it up. But it's pretty bad. Like if I saw this happening to my mom, you're damn right that guy's gonna die.
Yeah.
That's all.
I mean, that's
self-defense. I've seen it. It was in that burger joint, right?
Yeah, hot dog.
Yeah, yeah. They were getting a burger. The mom and this dude are fighting. They're fighting for a minute. The kid goes to get the gun, and by the time he comes back in, the dude is wailing on his mom, and he shoots him dead. But I believe they didn't give him time, right?
No, they arrested them for murder, like for charges the first few nights.
Right.
And I think after 2 days, they looked at the video camera footage on the cell phone camera.
Yeah, they said he had every
they
right.
decided that no, this is not murder, it's self-defense, and they let him go.
Wow.
So I'm proud of that.
A rare time that justice is actually served, man.
Yeah.
All right, that's the C3 podcast, C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. We're here every Tuesday night, Friday nights. We got a lot more content coming out. Don't forget Mega Mingo. We'll be here for the post game, the first post game show, guys. Remember, we're going to be trying to keep it one call per person on the post game show. Now, and sometimes we adjust the rules for different reasons, but we're going to try to be moving through. Man, it's going to be great. Football's back. We get to see Bryce Young. Let's go beat those fucking dirty birds. Let's get it going.
Hell yeah.
My name's Tony Dunn. You can follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. Follow Cody Lack at Cody Lack, CK at Codizzle Allen, at the Bat Daddy 52. Cody Lack, take us out of here.
C3 Nation, until next time, keep pounding.
Early contests build momentum for 2024 contenders seeking the White House. C-SPAN offers unfiltered coverage of events leading into early primaries and caucuses. Get access to speeches and results with the free app, C-SPAN Now, or watch live on the C-SPAN networks.